Kranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Kranky, and this is the Kranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Kranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Kranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Kranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
Blessings and good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Kranky G on the microphone. Welcome, welcome. You're live, Kranky Live. Those people out there in Kranky Live land, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Bless up, bless up, bless up. Good to see another day, another evening, another Kranky Live show. Let me know, people, if you can hear me. Because I don't know if my sound is coming through. I haven't done this for over a week, so we don't know where it go. Just say yes or no, people in the chat, because I don't see anything coming through. Can everyone hear me? Yay, nay, maybe? Can't hear nothing. Nothing back. No comments or nothing. Not sure if I'm being heard, even though it says I'm live. I know people are coming in. People, let me know if you can hear me. You know what? Let me drop something in, because maybe you can't. Let me drop something in the chat here. Since no one is responding, and I'll make sure before I go live that people can hear me. I post up something. I see no response coming in. Can you hear me? Hey, Dr. Dan, can you hear me? All right, good. We can start then. We can start, because I don't want to start and be talking to myself and no one can hear me. Good evening. Welcome. I think, as I have said, the last time I was on, which is over a week ago, I decided to take some time off to do some reflection, which I may do more frequently. But I have a number of topics. News is ever coming, ever present, ever here. And therefore, there's a lot to talk about. First thing is that I just saw the thumbnail. The three main topics for today is one, just the EPL update. What transpired over the weekend. It was a really good weekend. Football, and it'd be good to talk some football, which I'll do in a little bit. Bless up Max. Two, and people, you know what? I feel have the same conversation about hitting the like button when they come in. So don't do that for me. Two is to talk about the JFF coaching license. I know a lot of people have talked about this, but I think it's important when I have my say on this matter, because I think it's an imperative for the football to improve. And three is to talk about Damion Lowe, who divides opinion. And I sort of have a different perspective in terms of having that dialogue about Damien, what he does for the national team, what he does for his club team. And to get your perspective, even though I've had some of that already, quite a bit of that actually. But I want to start out with a couple of things first. One is something which, you know what? I'm not going to start off with this. I'm going to start with something else. I'm going to start off with this first. The JFF had a press release last week. Last week on September 20th, where they talked about they're confirming 3 friendlies for the women's national team. One is against number 10 team France, who we played in the last World Cup and drew with them. It's on Friday, October 25th in France. And then the kickoff is 9:05 France. I think that part of France about 7 hours different from Jamaica, 6 from the US. So it's 2:05 Jamaican time, 3:05 Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see if what medium we can get the game over. And as you know, France were quarterfinals at the last World Cup, top 10 team, very good team. So it's always good when teams of that stature and that quality wants to play you and are willing to have a friendly with you, which obviously help to generate income for the women's team. And then the girls will be playing against South Africa, who also have a decent team. And that will be in Jamaica. They have 2 games, one the 29th, one the 2nd. So I hope people go out and support the team. I think that's an imperative for people to do so. We talk about the women's team. We talk as if, you know what, we're a big supporter of the women's game. So, you know, let's back up the talk. Let's not just talk, let's back it up, right? It's important. So just like we go out and support the men's team, let's do so for the women's team. It's very, very important. And let's make sure we're supporting the football in total. Now, another matter I want to touch upon, which I was going to do a stream over this weekend, but I decided not to because I'd promised myself I wouldn't be doing any YouTube shows last week at all and come back this week because part of my whole assessment is, should I keep doing this, given all what comes with it? And I'm still haven't determined that yet. But the week off gave me some clarity. There are a bunch of other stuff I want to do. And I had a challenging week last week, personally. A number of mishaps, which hopefully are all behind me now. I was running around last week like a madman. So it was good I had to take the week off because I would have had to take it off anyway, given all what was happening. I also want to talk about, at some point, I'm going to do it on this channel too, but also on my other channel. So maybe I'll do one show and just do it on both channels, which is about what's happening in Jamaica with the Prime Minister's, affectionately known as Brogad, Prime Minister's statutory declaration. So the statutory declaration is sort of something that's required for members of Parliament to provide their sort of their net assets and sort of source of income to ensure that they're not being, as they call it, no illicit enrichment, which is sort of a fancy term, so you're not teaching people their money. That's the way I put it. Or the public money, are not doing things which are inappropriate. Nice, fancy euphemism for that. And obviously the Prime Minister made the statutory declaration, the one they're looking at for 2021. Took about 2 years to complete, really well drawn out. And really interesting read. So it's 170 plus pages. I was going to do a show on it, but I'm only at page 40 something. And I'm really interested in it because it's an area I'm pretty knowledgeable as it comes to audits. And I would have loved to see, what's his name, football guru in the chat, because I do want to draw him up when it comes to these things. He and that person from the JFF basically said, when I challenged the audits done by FIFA, they basically said that I act as if I know more than the FIFA auditors and the CONCACAF auditors. And all I'll say to that is this, which is, hey, bless up Johnny Powell, bless up Dr. John, bless up WeMax, bless up Jeremiah. Thanks all of you for joining. All I'll say to that is this. When this person from the JFF continued to make that statement in public forums like YouTube, I sent him my information and he had no response, which I didn't expect actually, because I think I kind of shut him up, right? Something you have to do that. I don't like to talk about these things. Something you have to do that. So we won't have the conversation anymore. So it was really interesting reading the audit report, which is pretty extensive and pretty long. Normally audit reports are not that long. Depends on the nature of the audits. There's sort of 3 types of audits. As the way I look at it, there are financial statement audits, which public accounting firms do. They're what I call operational audits. You look at processes and controls. And there's sort of legal compliance type audits. You look at policies, procedures, regulations. I would say this audit is a combination of, bless up Tycoon, a combination of compliance and financial audit of the Prime Minister. And I can't wait to go through the entire report, which is going to take me a little while to do. I know everyone is running to get to market with the news. I'm going to go through it in detail, decipher it, dissect it, and also respond to his perspective that he provided in Parliament about the situation. I thought it was interesting what he said. And let me say this, people, because the last thing I'll say on this is this, because we here to talk sports, but I'm going to do it on this channel. Most people, especially politicians, when they call up for accountability and to explain discrepancies, pull the parochial card, or the card of which they're pressuring me, they're doing it for political reason, or they're bad mind, that's how they say in Jamaica. And what people don't realize is that, and this is my last point on this, is when you're an auditor, if you're a very good auditor or an excellent auditor, and you audit at a certain level, at some point in your career, you may have to quit the job because of what you find. You may have to get fired because of what you find. Or you have to get extremely uncomfortable based on what you find, extremely uncomfortable. And if you don't have the highest integrity as an auditor, you may not do the right thing. I've looked at, I'm going to talk about this in detail, I've looked at the resumes and the bios for the members of the committee. Prime Minister, stop it. Stop it. These people are the epitome of the Jamaican society, given what they have done in their careers. And you are bringing them out in the public domain and chastising them. And people are taking a political angle about PMP and JLP. I'm not buying that, because I've met people like that in my career. I'm not buying that. All they did was do their job. And the reason why the report is so detailed, because they want to show you all the steps that they've taken. I can't wait to read all of it, break it down, and have a real detailed discussion on it, because I think it's important and imperative. And the reason why they're struggling with all of this is because you have so much going on, sir. 28 bank accounts, money moving in and out of companies. If you're a Jamaica Prime Minister, I think today you make about 60,000 US a year, which is chump change. That's why Nigel tripled the compensation and was trying to give you 180 and say you don't want it. You know you don't want it because you have money. But anyway, I could get carried away with this all evening talking about this. But there's a lot to be. People, don't hit the like button, man. This is free news and I get 49, 29 likes. That's not working. Hit the like button, people. But I can't wait to go to that entire report, dissect it, and then do a reaction video to the Prime Minister's perspective and provide my own perspective, given what the audit entailed, the audit that was conducted. And one thing the Prime Minister said, which I thought was interesting, because if you're JLP, you're going to be siding with the Prime Minister. So you normally work in Jamaica, I know. You don't want to see no truth. And if you're PMP, you want to push the button, the nuclear button, the same should resign. But you don't want all the facts. These are both sides. It's like in the US with Democrats and Republicans. There are two sides to the fence, and both sides don't trust each other, and nobody wants the truth. They just want what they want to hear. Now, I'm not going to say the accounts are perilous. What I'll say is that the auditors, the summary of the audit, I don't want to be too critical, but I think it's going to be done a little bit better in terms of how they summarize certain things. You can't say you start an audit, you got wrong information, and you start over the entire thing. That's not how it works. You have to revisit what you're doing, right? So some of the comments they make in the internet, they set it up, even though I think it's pretty expensive, pretty comprehensive. They could have repositioned things a little bit differently to make it resonate. Because your audit report, people, let me just say this the last thing I'll say. I've said this like 10 times already. Your audit report needs to speak to everyone. The most lay person on the street and the most sophisticated person on the street. That's hard to do. To write a report, which is not going to seem too trivial, too menial, too simple to the expert and the professional, but at the same time, not too complex to the regular man on the street, is hard to do. What they have done is try to make it as extensive and as comprehensive as possible. And they even outlay all the steps they took throughout the entire process. And I'm only on page 40-something. No, I'm not going to call. I don't like to do that. And we shouldn't do that exquisite. Until we have evidence, we shouldn't do that. But I'll say this. And look, if you read that report, people, I'm going to spend all evening talking about this. If you read that report, They give you the background of the Integrity Commission. They give the background of statutory disclosures. They give you how they come up with what they come up with. They talk you through case law, and they don't have any Jamaica case law because nobody in Jamaica get convicted, so there's not no case law in Jamaica to use to make their point about how they pursue these things. They use case law from Hong Kong. It's really interesting because most people use case law from their own country, not use some case law from something else, but they do that. They try to be as comprehensive as possible. We're talking about a partner of PwC, the Auditor General is on the International Board, jurists, top judge. That's the 5 people you have there, right? Who were selected for a reason. So don't come tell me that they are politically inclined as to why they're doing what they're doing. I'm not buying it. I know them that well. I'm not buying it. I read their bio. I'm reading the report. I look at their resume. I look at what they've done of their career. I get a feel as to who they are. I can assess some elements of their integrity. They're part of the Jamaica elite. And then you want to chastise and bastardize them because you don't like the outcome. Well, you know what? Don't have 20 in the account. And even the accounts you complain about, you see people, I say, I'm going to do another show, and him doing the show. You complain about accounts with your parents from 75 or 80s, whatever. You're moving money between the accounts. So if they're dormant accounts, why are you moving money between them? And when they call you up, yeah. Anyway, let me keep going, people, and stop. I'm going to do that video, and I'm going to break this down the right way, people. Because when I hear him talk and I'm doing the reading, I'm like, what are we talking about here? Really? But anyway, people, I'm going to have a lot of conversation about that. Because I heard people at Maverick doing a video. They're doing topical videos. And that's not to bash people, but they're just taking information that is giving out. They're not dissecting the thing. And there are a lot of questions to be asked and answers to be provided. You can't mix it. Look, if you make $6,000 a year in Jamaica, that don't include taxing on people. I don't know what the tax rates are. That doesn't include taxing. That's before tax. 6,000 Jamaica is about 9 million plus Jamaican, right? Which I think was the Prime Minister made. You guys can correct me because my information dated. He didn't take the increase that Nigel gave out. And as I said this on I wrote this on Maverick in one of Maverick comments, and then I heard him talking about it, which I asked the question. I asked Maverick this question before he even came out with it, which is, it's interesting the timing of Nigel's resignation to go to the IMF. Could be coincidental, but just interesting that this report came out almost simultaneously. But anyway, back to the football and sports people. So look forward to that video coming. In fact, you know what? If I have time this week, I'm going to do it maybe on Thursday on this channel and also put it on my other channel. But let me see if I have time. There's a lot of reading and it's a lot of work to be. It needs about 2 weeks worth of good work. They took 2 years to do the review, and I know why. Because if I ask you for a document, let me just say this, people. I'm telling you a lot what I'm going to talk about. The Prime Minister says he gave what was legally required. Really interesting, people. What was legally required. When people start using those terms and start lawyering up, you got to be careful. But anyway, let me keep going. Let's go to the EPL update, since I just did a political thing. Go to the EPL update, and then we can talk about JFF coaching, which I'm really interested in, and then we can spend some time on the Damion Lowe thing, which I think was interesting. People hit the like button. That's why I'm quit YouTube now, because I'm not coming and make chat and just come in, come take free information and leave. And I want to contribute to the conversation and contribute to my program. I increase the number of viewership. If my thing doesn't reach 5,000 by year end, I'm not doing this anymore. I have other things to do. I have writing to go do, a bunch of things to go do. I waste my time on YouTube. So I'm at 1,900 now. If they ain't 5,000 by December 31st, I may do my other channel, but I'm not doing this. But anyway, football, people, football. Why is this like this? Let me take this down. I'm messing up here big time. I lost my bearings. I'll put it back up. I want to go over the EPL scores, and somehow the thing I had up refreshed and just mess up this whole thing. This is not a good thing. So I have to re-pull this up, and then I can do this. But it was a very good weekend of football. Really good games. And Max, we have a talk. We have a talk. Got me here. You brought something for your channel. Max, we have a pull you up. I'll pull you up. I'll pull you up, Max. I'll pull you up. We have to talk, Max. So So these were the games. I did really well this weekend on my fantasy thing, actually, with these games. I think I missed a couple. Float management said unlucky gunners are, yeah, unlucky. I don't know if it's unlucky. We mess up. So I don't know if it's unlucky. But anyway, let's go through these games and we can talk about, we spent some time on the Arsenal game because it was the game of the weekend. So I watched the game on Saturday, half this game because I had an emergency that came up. And I was watching it on in traveling, but West Ham against Chelsea. West Ham has been poor. They have lost all 3 games at home. I don't understand that. How can you buy 10 players and almost every player you buy is not in your starting lineup? Why are you spending money on 10 players for? Huh? Where the 10 players? I hear you. Float management say yes, Kranky, let's smoke JD. Where was the 5 1 score you predicted? JD don't know about football, so we can't talk to JD about football. Well, no. He knew about football, not about Arsenal. Or he's just playing bias. He's just playing bias. Well, we get to you, JD. We'll get to you. We're not gonna say nothing about football. He know about football. He just don't understand the EPL. He don't understand the EPL. Or Arsenal for that matter. But anyway, let's keep going. Look, I've always said Jackson's a good forward. And people don't realize, and people, we can't have it both ways. Because I was on JD program talking about this. We can't say that Haaland is not a good forward because he only scored goals. And then Jackson is not a good forward because he take all his chances. Because Jackson's all-around game is very, very good. Good link-up play, good speed, can beat a man, can run the channels really well. He's a good player. And he took his goals really well on Saturday. And if he keeps playing like this, they'd be glad they didn't spend $100+ million on Osimhen. But I thought West Ham were poor. First of all, you see the first goal, people? The ball played to Jackson on the left, Mavropanos in the middle, and he's jogging like he's going to the beach while Jackson's running towards goal. And then keepers. If you watch this program, you're a keeper. Listen to me. When somebody's at your near post and they're going to shoot, if the ball is low on the ground, don't try to get down and try to get it with your hands. Not a good thing. De Gea, who was at Man U, was brilliant at this. The time you take to go down, and they always trying to go between your legs because the angle is closed, just use your foot and kick the ball out. If he just kicked the ball out with his foot, trying to go down and close his legs like something is wrong with them, he would have saved that shot. It's amazing when I see a lot of keepers do this at near post, when a forward is coming down the left or the right. And De Gea was brilliant at using his feet, realizing that I can't get down fast enough, given the speed the ball is coming with. So unless the ball is kicked really slow, you can go down for it. If it's kicked with that power and velocity, you use your foot and kick it out, even though you're the keeper. He didn't do that. He gave up the first goal, and he was all hell break loose. Chelsea had a fun day at the office, and right now they're looking really, really good. So maybe those venture capitalists are not idiot after all. So we might say, Flores, that's the way you're treating me for Kranky. My days are numbered. No, your days are not numbered. JD, good rush from defensive. Hey, JD, we'll get to Arsenal. People are not rushing to get to Arsenal. JD, you'll get. Hey, JD, if you call in, if you get slammed on him thing there. You know what, JD, if you call in, I'll put up the number. Okay, you know, call my program here. If you get slammed, JD, on that, yeah, disrespect my team. You're disrespecting my team, JD. Talking about 5-1, JD. First of all, JD, we gave up 22 goals last year in a whole PL season. We had only given up 1 goal this year, and it's when we were down to 10 men. If you notice, JD, let me not talk about Arsenal, but the 3 goals scored this year, so we're down to 10 men. We're the Rock of Gibraltar. We're the Great Wall of China. We don't give up goals. I don't think you realize that. We have 6 center backs. Well, 7 really. They call it 6. Yeah, we have 7. Called Kiwior is a center back. Tommy House is a center back. Ben White is a center back. And the 4 we had on the field starting the game. We have 7 center backs, and all but 2 can play left or right back. So anyway, but good game by Chelsea, good win by Chelsea, good outcome for them. And I watched the game, and they played well. And they, Caicedo was brilliant. Jackson played well. Palmer always doing well. Sancho looked good. Tells you when you get a change of scenery, that means. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. Actually, I picked Chelsea to be in the top 4. By the way, my top 4 was Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and Chelsea in that order. Because I had to select Arsenal because it's my team. But to be frank, I think City is difficult to beat. Difficult. You saw what they were doing yesterday in the first 15 minutes. But anyway, we get to that game. Aston Villa against Wolves. Villa is playing well. Look, we beat them, but we got lucky when we beat them. They could have been up 2-0 when they played us. Kranky, City had big fortune in the game. Stop backing. JD, we'll get to it, JD. You can call him if you're beating JD. We'll get to it, JD. We'll get to it. We'll talk about the game from a realistic standpoint, JD, not from a biased standpoint, right? We'll be very objective with that. But wait, JD, we'll get to it. Villa against Wolves. Wolves score first, as they seem to do nowadays, but tough game for them. Really good goal that they scored. But Holly Watkins, Duran, they're hitting the ball off the cover. They're playing well. They have a good team. A very hybrid construct up front with Ramsey, Watkins, sometimes Bailey on the right, or whoever they put on there. Not a conventional front three, but they're playing well, and they have forwards who can get behind the defense and can score from outside the box. So it's a good thing. And then we have Fulham versus Newcastle. I watched this game. I thought this game was interesting. Whereby the Arsenal contingent. By the way, JD, you heard this, JD? The Bless Up Seymour. Thanks for joining. Bless Up Forward Progress. Yeah, people, like as Forward Progress, like up the stream. By the way, people, Arsenal had 3 players in this game. Well, 3 former players. Iwobi, Smith Rowe, and Reece Nelson on loan. And they played Newcastle really, really well. They're the better team. Newcastle struggled against Spurs. I don't know what's happening with Newcastle this season. But they've had some injury problems, or seem to be having injury problems. But all their players are coming back. They didn't do a lot in the transfer market. I must bleach to make the stream. Yeah. Who tell you to live at Europe, JD, when you're contingent and your business in America or in this part of the world? I know you have some business in Africa, but it's not material business yet. Your business part of the world, you should be living in this region or this time zone. Or you do like how people like Tony in London do. They're night owls. They stay up. But it was a good game. Smith Rowe scored. Look, I think we have an ability to buy Smith Rowe back or at a lower price than anyone may want to buy him. And I think we may in the future. He's a very good footballer, people. Reminds me of Havertz. Those type of footballer who don't have a position, but are very good technically. He scored. And when he wasn't injured 2 years ago, I think he scored about 10 goals for him when him and Saka just came on the scene and running riot and playing with Lacazette. Played really, really well. He scored. Iwobi should have scored too. I have no idea how he didn't score that goal. Got a clear-cut chance, and somehow Pope saved it. He should have scored too. So it should have been all 3 Arsenal alumni who scored. But good game. Good win by Fulham. Fulham playing good football. I had this game as a tie, so I didn't win this one, unfortunately. But good win by Fulham. I thought it would give Newcastle a hard time. They have a good team, good manager, and played well. Leicester, Everton. Again, Everton scored first. Sam Dyche is supposed to be a defense guru. I think Arteta is the defense guru, not Sam Dyche. And they drew. And they're getting chance. Calvert-Lewin. How many chances are you going to get Calvert-Lewin before you put the ball in the net? Jeez, terrible. And even though they play at the King Power Stadium at Leicester, good game. Everton probably could have won. Leicester, I think they only had 2 shots on target, if I'm not wrong. But, hey, outcome is the outcome. Good point by Everton. And as you heard more recently, they have been the person who had given, $200 million loan to the owner of Everton is going to buy it. Thinking about a 90% interest. Or the owner is selling his 90% interest. So they'll be sold, probably get new owners, new funding. They have a new stadium coming next year. They can't afford to go down. So, yeah. Before the game says, Kranky live this later, JD will have to whisper. He will not be able to speak. Well, I mean, JD's bias gets him in trouble. Right? He said Arsenal Stadium winning. His bias gets him in trouble. And I can't wait to debate him, He's been threatening to debate me, and then when I look around, I can't find him. He disappears. He's been saying he wants to debate me. And here's what I do, people, because I'm very generous. I said, pick the time, pick the place, pick the topic, and I'll take the opposite side of that topic. Now, let me repeat that, people. He can pick the topic he wants to pick, and I'm going to take the opposite side, and we can debate in the public forum. JD, it's all yours. I'm waiting. He say he can't speak because he'll disturb his kids. I understand that. It's late. What time is it there? It's probably about 12, right? 12:30, I think, or something like that. I think you have a 6 hour difference, if I'm not mistaken. Leicester, Bournemouth. When I was listening to this game, because I try to watch 2 or 3 games simultaneously, normally 2. Bournemouth scored in the first 3 minutes, and I thought, yeah, here we go again. Nottingham Forest again this week, but they came back, and Diaz is playing brilliant football, people. Brilliant football. Scored 2 more goals, taking up the Salah slack. So Liverpool is dangerous. They had a blip against Nottingham Forest, but they have won all their games except for that game. And blips do occur. Yeah, Flo. I know Floyd, right? He just 12:30. All right. He's just. I would suggest he doesn't debate because he may lose credibility after that debate. So don't debate Remax. Don't let people force you to do things you don't want to do. All right, Remax. Don't people force you to want to do. But if you feel brave, set it up. You need to get up 6 hours. I thought YouTube was your work. You mean you have a regular day job? You need to quit the job and just do YouTube full time. So you can get paid. What did I get paid last month? $1.01 an hour. No, let me rephrase that. It's 158 Jamaican dollars. I got paid an hour last month. Enough money. 158 is a big number. It's enough money. The Prime Minister is 1% of the net assets they couldn't find. And he doesn't talk about all the other money that's moving all over the place that people have concern about, that they couldn't substantiate or authenticate. And that's why they have to refer to the FID. But anyway, we digress. Southampton, Ipswich. I didn't watch the game. I just watched highlights. Obviously, Omar Hutchins playing this game, but I'm not sure if he's Jamaican anymore or English. I'm still trying to figure that one out. So we'll see how that goes. I was waiting this week. Before the game is actually Max, is your kid going to be a footballer? Now that doesn't, before the game before the game, can't run his mouth in a Max because his kid is a footballer and play pro. In fact, both of them actually, so he can beat his chest and ask these questions. I can't do that. My kid have nothing to do with football. I used to go to him the football field. I'd pressure him and look at me like I have 2 heads. It's like, we're not having that. I don't like to do this running thing. So I gave up. Even though it would have been my dream if he did. But before the game, satisfied a parental dream, which is he's a football coach and his kids are footballers and they're both pros. So he did a good job. Bless up. Spurs against Brentford. Watch this game. So I'll beat you, Max. Max, I'll beat you. Max, I'll beat you. Watch the game. So because I've been watching a number of games simultaneously. And Spurs won because Brentford made a number of mistakes at the back. And one of those mistakes was made by Pinnock. So Pinnock, I have to beat you today. You're a very good footballer. But you can't have 3 games in a row where you made mistake which either cost goal or almost lead to goal. So when you play for Jamaica against Honduras, you made a pass from the left side to the middle of the park, deep in the area. You got intercepted by Honduras, they should have scored. You went back home, you got bullied by Holland, he scored. And then this week, you passed the ball to the Spurs player, same pass you made in the Honduras game and they scored. I don't know, Max giving you like 7-8 score because when you give up a goal and your team lose, you can't get nothing more than a 5. If you're lucky. Not happening. So even though we love you as a baller, Pinnock, you can't be making those mistakes. You cannot be making those mistakes. 3 games in a row, you basically gave away 3 goals, even though 2 got scored. You cannot do that. That's not okay. And you cost your team. And so even though you may have played well in the game, your stats look really good. It is some percent passing accuracy, good on long balls. If you give up a goal and you lose 3-1, not a good look. Bless up Rockford. And then the Crystal Palace Man U game, which I did watch actually because it was the last game of the day. It was the last game of the game, and it was a good game. Sort of a good game, actually. Onana made, first of all, SA should have scored a couple goals. Let me take out these people. So I can't see me ballad. SA should have scored 2 goals, by the way. He missed from both sides. He's got to put away one of those chances. One of them was a brilliant. Onana made a brilliant save when the shot was taken at him, actually. Double save, actually. But Eze got to score. At your level, Eze, and I love Eze footballer, he's probably the most graceful footballer in football. Like he glides across the park. He doesn't feel pressure. He beat men easily. Really good footballer. So, but Eze, you got to score. But Man U came away with a draw. Probably could have lost that game. They did hit the bar twice. I think Garnacho and then Fernandez right afterwards. But there's nothing in that game, and 0-0 may have been the right outcome, even though they said Eze should have scored 2 goals. And then we had 2 games on Sunday. Let me go to the easier game, which is Brighton Nottingham Forest. A really good game. I thought Brighton was dominated for long portions of the game. Nottingham Forest is a very spirited team, and I feel so bad we didn't get a chance to go at Gibbs White, because even though he got a red card, he's a brilliant footballer. And at 24, he's the captain for Nottingham Forest, which says a lot for the player. Yeah, he should have scored 2, but Eze got 2 easy ones, Rockford. You gave him 6.5, can't get more than 5 Remax. Not when you give up a goal and you gave up the goal. The goal wasn't like they created it and you got beaten. You gave up the goal. You can't get more than a 5. Love the baller. Very good footballer, but I'm not going to be parochial and say, oh, he should get a 6. No, you can't be giving away goal pin-up. You got to do better than that. But the Brighton Forest, good game. Brighton scored first. Nottingham Forest came back, played really well, scored the last goal, and then Gibbs White got a stupid red card, which shouldn't have occurred. By the way, 2 goals that Brighton scored were good goals. The Welbeck free kick was ridiculous. The header was ridiculous. But Nottingham Forest played within themselves. They're very hard to beat. Defensive, they are very well structured, well situated, and they show that. But before that, we had the game of the week. Actually, it could be the game of the year in the EPL. If we go back last year, we played them in the second half of the season. When we played them at the Etihad the last time, which is when we played them last year, we just parked the bus. We didn't go to win. We played 11 behind the ball. We got the draw we wanted, which probably cost us the title. No doubt about that. Because we lost the title by 2 points. If we won that game, we would have won the title. This game, we went with a different mindset, but a little bit different strategy. So, no, he doesn't get 0 every game. We're going to talk about Damion Lowe a lot this evening, people. I want to do about a 45 minutes on Damion Lowe. We're going to get to Damion Lowe. I'm going to do the coaching and do Damion Lowe. So if you watch the game, here's another thing, people. A referee, I know you don't watch this channel, but somebody may tell you, we don't want to see you or hear you. You're supposed to be on the field and officiate the game, but nobody came to watch you. This is a global sport, a global game with great build-up, great players. You're not part of the whole equation. You're just not. And you have no G, whatever common sense. You walk on your brain. You're making yourself the game. Now, a year ago, you gave Martinelli 2 yellow cards in one sequence and set him off. The last game, you gave Declan Rice a red card for kicking the ball away. I wouldn't call it a kick, for touching the ball away. This game, supposedly, you gave a yellow card to Trossard for kicking the ball away, even though he kicked away 0.8 seconds after you blew it, and Silva was down on the ground. One of my friends reminded me today that he was on the ground, so the ball couldn't have been kicked away anyway because he wasn't going anywhere. The game is not about you kill the game, you kill the drama, you kill the excitement. People go watch football to be entertained, not some, asinine referee messing up the game. We understand what the rules of the game are, but you know what? Sometimes, if it's not and first of all, people kicking the ball, the penalty, the time wasting concept, which you can add the damn time back on, which they do because they gave them like 7 or 9 minutes. So you gave back the people the time, and then you penalize the person. You can't have it both ways. If you give a penalty in the box, you cannot then send the person off the field. That's not how it works nowadays. It's double jeopardy. The players are not. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Anthony Taylor ruined the game. Not Anthony Taylor. It wasn't Anthony Taylor. It was I forgot his name, but it's not Anthony Taylor this time. Anthony Taylor is the one who gave the 14 yellow cards the previous game. That wasn't Taylor. His name will come to me. But he's the one who's penalizing. That's 3 records again. Our last 3 records came in the games that he refereed. Arsenal should request he doesn't referee any more of our games because he's a moron. Now, here's the thing. Trossard could have get 2 yellow cards on that play. First of all, the foul was a stupid foul. First of all, Trossard was involved. Trossard, to me, shouldn't have played that game. Didn't play well in the Spurs game. Shouldn't have played that game. Great goal scorer, but he's a impact sub. He shouldn't be that game. He should be Jesus or Sterling. So here's my problem with that. Because Sterling has played the 10 at Liverpool. I know why Tetes keep playing Trossard because we don't have enough scoring on top. Our offense is in net, by the way. But we'll get to that. You don't want to spend a lot of time on Arsenal because it's supposed to be EPL update. Now, the problem I have is this. So Trossard, we are attacking them. Good position on the right, up the field. Trossard gave the ball away for no goddamn reason. Excuse my French. The ball should have been crossed easily to Martinelli. He gave the ball away. Then Partey had to take a foul because they had a break. Then he went, when the ball was played up, and jumped in the man's back with no intention of winning the ball. So yes, Trossard is culpable and a moron in that case. But at the same time, the referee has to understand the time, the place, the circumstances, and make a smart referee decision. Don't be a moron. Don't exacerbate the situation by being a moron. And that's what he did, which was very, very frustrating watching. So then he killed the game. And then we go play 10 at the back. And if you look at the stats in that game, now people, I listen to Robbie Lyle because I listen to AVF TV. Andre calling when I'm on my diatribe. Yes, good evening. Hello? I think my phone may not be connected. Give me 1 second. I'm not sure why I'm not hearing you. No, I should be hearing you. I'm not hearing you. Can you hear me? All right. Oh, 1 second. Something is wrong. My phone is not connected for some reason, and I have no idea why. This is weird because it's showing on my screen that it's up, but it's not connected because I just checked the system. Give me a chance to try to redo this and see what happens. I don't know what happened. Oh, you know what? I think I know what happened. Give me 1 second. I think I probably took it off for some reason. So let me see. Yep, my Bluetooth is off. Let me reconnect it and then I can connect you. So people, I want to quote some stats for you from that game. I've never seen this in football before. Never, ever in my... And I've been watching football for a long time. Let me connect the caller first and then we can have the conversation. But there were some stats for Arsenal, stats I thought were amazing, and some which I thought were ridiculous. Good evening. Hello?
Yes, good evening, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Welcome back from your sabbatical.
My sabbatical? It may be permanent one of these days, you know, because I'm not getting the love that I think I deserve from doing these programs. I give you an example. 81 people in the chat, 53 likes. I'm not getting the love. So at some point, I'm going to cut it off and say, you know what? I'm going to do something else. If you're trying a new career, and it's not working, you need to cut your losses. And I'm big on that. I've told you I want to do a lot of writing. So this ain't working. I'm just going to do something else. But go ahead. This is that. Let me get off my diatribe.
I call you as you're discussing the Arsenal game.
Yes.
That one there's a number of flashpoints in that game that is quite interesting.
Right.
And there's a old saying that referees know the rules, but they don't know the game. The Trossard one was one of the flashpoints that I probably have a different opinion on to some regard. So he did. I agree with you. He did barge into the back of was he playing in October?
Silva.
Say David Silva. He knocked into his back, and I don't see that as any different as what Haaland did very early in the game.
Yes, that's true too. And by the way, you're right. And Duku did kick the ball away too. But go ahead.
Well, we'll get to the Duku one, and then he kicked the ball away. Right, there's probably about less than a second between the time the whistle blew and he kicked the ball away.
Right.
But I think the decision that the referee should have had a conversation with him then. But I don't think the red card, the second yellow, was warranted because with the player on the ground, I don't know that City would have been attempting to get a quick restart.
Right.
right? So I don't know how a delay.
Hello? I think we have lost him. Yeah, somehow one second. Yeah, you're back. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yes.
Yeah. So I don't know that it made sense to give him a second yellow when there's a player on the ground in discomfort. So I don't think City would have been trying to restart quickly. So I don't know if it made sense he getting his second yellow. But I would agree that his behavior could have been better in that moment.
He's a problem child, right? He's always getting into situations for no reason. He's a problem child. He has a temper, and his temper get him in trouble.
If we have to start, there's rules in football, and they've got to make different decisions. I don't see the other flashpoint in that game that I thought was quite interesting was the conversation about after the referee had the conversation with Saka and City's right back, the City's captain.
Yeah, you're breaking up, but we can hear you. Keep going.
Yeah, I think when Partey played the pass, I think he was in line with his defense. He was back. He was in position where he needed to be. You normally defend in relationship to the ball and the goal, and he was in between the goal and Martinelli,
right,
for much of the play, right. So he was in position to defend, and I don't even think the opportunity for Calafiori to score was his fault, because when the ball was played backward, it's Saviola is the kid name. He could have closed the ball down, and he didn't. Right. So I don't know that those flashpoints, if you want to call them that they should be looked at in the context in which people have been looking at them.
Okay.
Because I think they move past the idea. I mean, the media have their conversations and they have to have things to talk about, but I see those a little bit different.
Right.
But what I want to get your opinion on. People say Arsenal defended well, but conceded 2 goals. What are your thoughts about that?
I think when you're playing supposedly the number 1 and number 2 team in football, and you have 10 men, and the first half of the game, you got up 2-1, and you're leading after not being in the game for the first 15 minutes, and you only conceded 1 goal in the last kick of the game. I think you defended well. Because context matters, right? Just think about it.
Right.
So we have gone to their place and get slammed continuously. Last year we got a draw because we took 4 points from the last year. They didn't beat us last year. They haven't beat us the last 3 times we played them. And we scored 2 goals, one from a traditional set piece. Our attacking players are not playing well this season. None of them. Okay, what anybody would tell you. We're not scoring goals. We struggle against Atalanta. We can't get the ball out. We're not passing the ball well. Rice is overpriced. So there's a lot of complaints I have. But at the same time, if you go to the Etihad, you made City have no idea. City get behind people. They couldn't get behind us. I mean, Timber, I've never seen Doku play a game when he hasn't beaten this man 1 time. I'd love to see Doku's successful dribbles, because I didn't see him beat Timber 1 time in that game. He only got the byline when I think Grealish got to the byline when he came in. If Timber was there, he wouldn't get to the byline. Bless up, Anthony. So I thought we played very good defensively, but you can't just sit in the box. This is when you have training and you say, okay, defense, play against the forwards, and you use your 4 forwards first, and then you add some midfielders, and you may have 1 defender, so you're trying to increase the numbers and see how you defend. That's what we did. We gave them nothing to think about. So here's my view on that. Arteta missed the trick. 2 things missed the trick. First of all, Calafiori didn't watch the game, didn't watch his opponent for Man City when it comes to the first goal, or we'd know that fools rushing to Zavino where Angel feared to tread. You rushed in, ended up at the sideline, so the first goal got scored. Gabriel overcompensated to the left, and the ball played between the lines. Allen's in on goal. But subsequent to that, Calafiori was brilliant, right? The problem I have is when Inter played Man City, they kept 2 players up top. What that does is say, you know what? Diaz, Ikanji, whoever you are, you got to keep 3 people back. Not even 2, 3, because it's 2 against 3. You can't have 2 against 2 because then 1-on-1. So then, therefore, it's going to be, they have to keep, if you have 2 up, it's 4 back with the goalkeeper. So it's 7, right? Against your 8, if you have 10 people. When you put all people deep, then the entire 10 people are attacking you. It's not smart. The only outlet we have, semi-outlet, was Martinelli on the left, because we had nobody on the right, because he doubled up when he took Saka off, right? Not saying it's a wrong change, but put somebody in the half line. It can't be Havertz because he can't run. He has no speed. It's amazing to me that as a coach, you don't realize that part of my defense is my offense. That's what City does. That's what we do. Why don't you make it the case? And Martinelli is fit enough because he can run all day, because that's all he's doing nowadays, because he's not scoring. So let him go out there and run. When you play them all deep in there, the shot that they took to score the last goal was shot from the penalty spot almost. That's ridiculous. Now, we fell asleep, but we're defending. Here's another thing, too. We're defending starting just inside our box. That can't be right. We don't want any space behind, but you can allow 5-6 yards behind. You put the defense up above the 18. It made no sense to me. Was it a brilliant stopping them? Yes. But that's not, to me, that you can't go defend. You're not Sam Allardyce with a team that have no footballers on it defending in the box. And here's another stat. People, here's a stat, people. And before the game, we talked about this. I've never seen this in football before. Maybe I didn't watch the game. I remember when Jamaica played Ecuador. I hope I'm right on this. And Shamar Nicholson touched the ball once. No, I thought 0. I think you told me 2 or 1, right, in the first half. I thought that was exceptional. In a football game where your team was getting more possession after you give up the first goal, you touched the ball twice in the game in the first half. I thought that was amazing. Kai Havertz, people. I think you touched the ball, if I'm not mistaken, about... Go ahead.
Before you go to Kai Havertz, remember in that discussion we produced some stats that showed that that's happened to
Timber. I'm gonna get to that.
Erling Haaland.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about Haaland scored, so we can't talk about Haaland. Haaland scored.
Yeah, but this is previous games.
Okay, so wait. So somebody say touch the ball 25 times. I thought it was 20 times. In people, he made 6 passes in the game. Let me say this. So I don't know if it's 25 times. I thought it was 20-something times. 25 times, he made 6 passes. He made 0 accurate passes. Let me repeat this. Kai Havertz. No. He made 6 passes. They didn't get to the destination. Or they did get to the destination, the opposition. How do you play a game where you had 25 touches, you had the ball 6 times in your possession, and you made 6 passes, and you had 0 accurate passes? That means you're a liability. And I don't want to hear this people about how people work hard. You get paid $280,000 a week. You should be working hard. Sorry, I'm not buying this working hard nonsense nowadays. Yes, with 10 people, it's much more difficult. But this concept of I work hard, did you work smart? The man made 0 accurate passes in an entire 99-minute game. That cannot be right. Something is wrong. Before the game 10 was. By the way, people, right beside him, or right behind him. Right behind him, people. You can't make this up. Was my great defender Timber. Now, Timber, you're good on the ball. You can play football, but Timber. You can't make 7 passes and have 14% one got in this. So between Kai Havertz, people, between Kai Havertz and Timber, they touch the ball about 40-something time between 2 of them. They connected on 1 out of 13 passes. Paul Everett said, Kranky, your analysis is foolishness. All right, genius. Genius, I hear you, genius. My analysis is foolishness. But anyway, I'm not sure why you hear this foolishness. Don't listen to foolishness. You get me perturbed. Don't listen to foolishness. What I do with foolishness, I turn it off. But anyway, I don't understand how you have 6 passes, not touches, and none got to his destination. None, not one got to where it's intended to go.
Well,
and by the way, the previous game, Timber's pass accuracy was 58%. And here's another thing, people. Don't tell me the nonsense. Calafiori made 16 of 17 accurate passes. He was playing the same game. Okay? So don't give me that nonsense about, X, Y, Z. No, nonsense. Go ahead. Word again. Go ahead.
I think you have to respect Man City counter press as well, right? When they turn the ball over.
I agree. But then if one player have 16 or 17 and they face the same counter press, you tell me an average player in the middle of the field, he's not playing on the right side. Tim versus passing accuracy was poor the last game.
For me, when I look at that game, though, I think a lot of times when teams are losing, like right now, they're coming down hard on West Ham coach because he hasn't gotten good results in his first 5 games, and they've been tough games for him, right?
Yeah.
Outside of Crystal Palace. I think Arteta yesterday was very good. And I think that needs to be mentioned. Normally people just talk about the players on game day with the results, but except for when it goes wrong, the manager gets blamed. I thought he got the lineup right, especially in the back. That was a big move for him to leave White out.
He said White wasn't feeling well.
Well, he has to tell you something.
We know Arteta doesn't tell the truth, by the way.
Yeah.
Arteta literally lies, actually. He lies.
Yeah. No manager does. They all do.
No, but Arteta does it frequently. I heard what's his name from AFTV calling him out. He lies. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think he dropped him. I think he knew that, and we're gonna see more of that probably, especially in Champions League football. That back four is probably what we're gonna see in Champions League football because I think it's the best combination that Arsenal had. But he got the starting lineup right. I think he got the tactics right in the first half. I think it was, as we discussed, Trossard messed with it and made the game extremely difficult. And to still have the opportunity to walk away with 3 points and lose it that late in the game, I mean, you got to give him credit. I don't particularly like the direction the team is going in from the context of, I think Arsenal is losing the ability to be expansive and fluent, right? To become more robust, tougher mentality. So I don't think the football is going to be pretty this season, but the football is probably going to.
Well, he seemed to have gone away from the last 2 seasons, right? So when he first came, he was pressing like Liverpool. Then he pulled back on the press because obviously Liverpool also did that because they realized it's not sustainable. But now we just seem to be, and he's bought a bunch of centre-backs who are versatile, but now we just seem to be so defensive and our offensive players are not producing. We struggle against Atalanta. We can't keep the ball. We had 36% against Spurs. We had less possession against Atalanta. Yesterday, you can understand the position differential. But even the first 15 minutes, we weren't in the game. We only came in the game in the second part of the first half. So we're not possessing the ball, and we're a possession team.
I don't think we can. I'm not saying that Arsenal cannot. I think Arsenal is choosing to play a different way.
No, we can't. No. Nobody in football, you and I disagree on this. Nobody in football just gives up possession unless you don't have like 10 people like we were yesterday.
Are you talking about football in Europe or are you talking about football around the world?
Football in Europe because everybody in Euros were playing possession football.
Okay, I thought you were talking because when you say nobody.
Well, no, but Europe is the world. But anyway, I don't watch any other football except Premier League. So.
Well,
forgive me. I get scores from La Liga and from League One and Bundesliga. I don't watch them, so I can't talk about them. I watch Premier League football. So and most people in the world do, or a lot of football fans. I shouldn't say most people. A lot of football fans do. So yeah, but I can agree that people give. First of all, if you're a footballer, you want to enjoy the football. People. If you play football, why are you on the field if you're going to just play defense? You want to enjoy the football. That's why you're there in the field. You want to dominate possession because you can rest on defense. You can rest on offense versus on defense. If you're just chasing the game all the time, and if you don't have the ball, how are you going to score? It's not logical. So at the end of the day, look, Kai played well defensively, and Robbie was saying, well, if you're not at the game, you can't see it. Hey, Robbie, let me just say this to you. 2 things. One is, yes, I agree. When you're at the game, there's some things you can see which others can't see. But when you're on TV, there are things you can see, but you can't see at the game. Give them the vantage point that you have. Because when you're at home, you're seeing the entire field, the entire setup, as if you're playing video game. When you're at the game, some things you get to see better, but some things you don't. And frankly, what people don't do is they say the stats don't matter, stats are XYZ. The stats do matter, people. That's how you probably get paid a lot of times in sports, is based on your stats.
Well, the stats is a tool, right?
It's a tool, but it's a useful tool. There's the optics, and then there's the stats. So you combine the two to make an informed decision about what the person's performance is.
Look, it's very early in the season, and I think Arsenal has been the only team really challenging City. City being a team that I don't think anybody have ever had a team like this anywhere in any top league anywhere in the world, well, except Barcelona.
That Barcelona team with Xavi and Messi
and Pep Guardiola was not expected to be successful in England playing that kind of football, and he's now looking at probably winning his fifth title in a row.
He's getting ridiculous. He's making it boring.
Yeah, it's getting ridiculous.
But you know what? We know what can derail them.
It's coming.
And the Premier League better derail them, because if they don't, the problem is the Premier League have evidence which is not obtained legally, I don't think. So that may be struggling. Depends on what the arbitrator says.
To take Deion Sanders' theme, Deion Sanders comment is, "We coming, it's coming." They're gonna have to deal with that. They're gonna have to deal with that case, and it's gonna be a distraction, right? So it could show them off course. Do you know who, if anybody, that JD supports in the English league?
No, I thought JD support JD. Don't you support Chelsea? Hey, Max, don't you support Chelsea?
He laughing at Arsenal.
Yeah. Hey, Paul Edwards, we're talking about contemporary football. Maybe after your time, Paul Edwards. Just want you to know that. So you may not get what we're talking about, but it's contemporary football. You may not used to that. I can see from your profile that you may not understand it. So I understand it sounds like foolishness to you. Go ahead. Go ahead before the game. Go ahead before the game. We're talking football here. We ain't talking 1940s football. But go ahead before the game. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think Arsenal for the third year is going to be.
Oh, wait. Jesus Lord. They said Max sport Man City. He's not a football fan. He's not a football fan. He's a joke. I've lost all respect for him. Respect for him. Zero. I have zero respect for him. JD's not 15 or 16 years old. Okay. Those are the Man City fans who are outside the UK who support a winner because they're very, very young. They don't know any better. And they pick the winner when you first start watching football. No, I don't have any peers, Owen. I don't have any peers. I don't always say this man is my peer, don't know football. I don't have any peers. I stay up to date with stuff, Owen. I'm not dated. I may be seasoned, but I'm not dated. There's a difference between being seasoned and dated and don't understand what we're talking about here, because the man says foolishness. It sounds like gibberish. It's like me listening to some young people music. It sounds like gibberish. He's not understanding. So I get it.
So you mentioned the Doku passing the ball back.
Yes.
There's another one of the flashpoints. After thinking about that, it's a hard comparison for me to make, because I think he didn't kick the ball away. He passed the ball back to the player.
No. You're not supposed to touch the ball.
Yeah,
not supposed to touch the ball. Not supposed to touch the ball. He touched the ball.
Yes, that is true, but he did not kick the ball away.
No. Did Rice kick the ball away or just move the ball?
No, what Rice was trying to be cheeky. If you look at that closely,
I know he's trying to be cheeky,
Rice was trying to be cheeky.
Did Yao Pedro kick the ball away?
If you look at Rice's face, you could see him trying to block the restart.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's different. But if you look at the image in that moment where Doku passed the ball backward, you could see his players. You could see the referee pointing that the ball needed to go back.
Right.
There for a restart. So I don't know if that's a comparison. I think at the end of the day, the referee didn't make. He messed the game up for the world, not just for us, no? Because we were watching a very good football match.
Right.
And I think he messed the game up and took away what potentially could have been a really good second half.
Yeah. No, here's the frustrating about this before the game. We struggled in the first part of the game, and then we came into the game.
Yeah.
And all he did was to destroy the whole thing. It's ludicrous. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you.
They haven't lost now in 47 games there, so it would always be a difficult place to play. And I think Arsenal is the one team for the past 2 years have been making the league competitive, as otherwise they would run away with the league, right? Nobody else is really challenging them.
Yeah, definitely.
And, so we expect it to be the same again. We have some guys who is a couple of teams just pretending they want to be part of that, like Aston Villa or whatnot, but they're all going to fall off just now. and going to be City and Arsenal competing again. So
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Agreed.
JD didn't answer. Did JD take off?
He probably went to bed. I don't see him answered. But for JD to be a City fan, I'm so disappointed. It's hard to talk about people. I'm so disappointed. Just like Devon being a Chelsea fan. Now, even that I can give more credence to because Chelsea was around for a long, long time. You know, Chelsea didn't just come around; they've been around for a while. But a lot of people in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, not Chelsea fans. They're normally Liverpool fans. They may be Arsenal fans to this extent. They may be Man U fans. They're not Chelsea fans. But for him to be Man City fan, nobody's fans outside of the UK a lot of times of teams that were historically poor until the Middle Eastern money come in. So I don't understand that. But anyway, I got to beat JD when I see him.
All right, man.
All right. Thanks for the call.
All right. Give thanks.
All right, people. So we're at 7:05. And last thing I say, Arsenal is this. Triple E, you can be a Man City fan if you're under 25 years old. Otherwise, you shouldn't be. People who are Man City fans are bandwagonists and are late to the whole football arena. Trust me. Well, no, you can be a Tottenham fan if you are from Australia or from the UK, but otherwise, I don't know where you're a Tottenham fan. But look, all these teams in the UK have expanded their remit. I've seen Tottenham fans in the US actually. I had somebody at work who was a Tottenham fan. You don't see a ton of them, but people have different connections to the city. You know, if you live in Tottenham, you live in Enfield, those areas, you may just be, you could be a Tottenham fan. Or if you, yeah. Is this an Arsenal Love Fest channel? Yes, it is. So welcome. It's an Arsenal Love Fest channel. Of course it is. But anyway, we're going to finish with the football, except to say, I think Arteta could have done some things a little bit different in that game. And we're going to move to JFF coaching requirements, right? So as many of you know, the JFF has been really working really hard, or at least they used to tell me before they decided to ban YouTubers, really, really hard to change the football in Jamaica. And they have recognized, like many of us been saying, and also recognize people, if you're here and you haven't hit the like button, please do so. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, because the subscriber numbers are too low. And I'm running out of time to be here. So if the subscribers don't go up, I got to go with it. So maybe if you want me to go, then I can understand. But the subscriber numbers are not where they should be. But anyway, we digress. Bless up 1-1. Thanks for joining. I must win Maxwell. You couldn't even come in and say good evening, Kranky. You have talked about say it's like Arsenal Love Fest channel. But anyway, because support nobody, that's good. But the JFF has realized that look, coaching is an imperative. Coaching is important. One of the reasons why we may not be producing the footballers at the highest level, given our physical attributes, is that the coaching is not where it needs to be. Yes, a lot of us are wagonists. I know a lot of you guys are wagonists. I shouldn't say us, because I'm not a wagonist. I've been an Arsenal fan forever. But yes, but I think a lot of Jamaican fans also follow football for years ago. Maybe in wagonists in the Liverpool days, because Liverpool used to win in the 70s and 80s, but they stayed with their team even when they had tough times. So the JFF has been working to improve the coaching. And look, there are 5 certification levels required to be recognized as a football coach in Jamaica. There's a pro license, A license, B license, C license, and D license, right? D license at grassroots level. As I heard Rudolph Speed said on a radio program the other day, B's for basic. Now, the Jamaica Football Federation, and the requirement for the JFF and for the JPL, which is the Jamaica Semi-Professional League, the requirements are you have to have sort of coaching certificate, right? The JFF partners with CONCACAF and FIFA to offer coaching education. And I just saw an article that came out, which I was going to read, but I'm not going to read it, where Bombers Grange was talking about it, which is they're going to have some kind of coaching. It came out in August, some kind of coaching seminar where for you to coach at the primary school level, you minimum have to have a D license. Now, Europa doesn't have these 5. They have 4. They start at C. We're starting at D, but conceptually D and C are sort of similar from a if you think about Europe and the Americas. in terms of coaching. It's mainly at the sort of grassroots level, right? And if you look at the criteria for each of the different levels, you can see there's not material differences. And I will say this, people, having looked at, and I should bring this up. I'm gonna try to find it and bring it up because it's important to bring it up. But let me go to the JFF piece first, and then we'll talk to what I want to focus on, which is the new requirement for the JPL. So they try to leverage off CONCACAF and FIFA to do this, as is done in Europe and in other parts of the world, where people have realized that coaching as imperative is important and you should have good coaching. So they're requiring a B license or A license, or if you have a pro, to coach at a certain level. For the JPL for now, and they bring this, they're not doing, so here's the thing. I don't think you should coach in JPL unless you have an A license or above. You shouldn't. I think in Europe, to coach on the 18s and to coach reserves teams, like, for a professional team, or to coach on the 18s, you have to have a license. Now, they're trying to do this gradually because it wasn't a requirement before. So you can't just institute something which can't be achieved, and then you hurt yourself. So they require a B license for you to have one now for the JPL. Right? And you hear the uproar and pushback for Veer when Lenny and Toxic Boss didn't have their license. Now, I say this to Toxic Boss. A Malta license is something that you drink. It's not a license. I don't drink Malta. That's something you drink. Go get your license. If you read the requirement for the C license in Europe, which is one step above the D license, you'll realize, why am I doing this? You realize that the requirements are not that significant, people. They're achievable. So let's do this. Let me try to pull this up. I think it's important. Let me try to pull this up. And I'm not sure why this thing here keeps sticking. Trying to pull up some European information here. I may have to get out of this and then come back in. But I think what the JFF is doing, people, because they've realized this, I've said before, is in order for the football to improve, in order for us to stop having this discussion about local versus overseas, it's like you having teachers who don't have any accreditation. They have no academic achievement, and you want to come teach your kids. We have standards in life in almost all discipline. If you want to drive, I shouldn't say that about Jamaica. I say life. Well, you know what? Jamaica requires you to have a license. People just don't get it sometimes. And then brag and say, I can drive better than a licensed driver. We don't know this because you haven't passed any tests. We have minimum standards. And minimum standards, people, are important. Okay? So look at the requirement for a C license in Europe. So in Europe, you have C, B, A, and Pro. And it says you have to have a minimum hour of 60 hours education. Something needs to be in the field to get your C license. Right? That's it says you can see this. It's grassroots coaches. And UEFA has 4, CONCACAF has 5. So you have minimum hours of 60. 60 people. It's not a lot of times. If you're 2 hours a day, that's 30 days. Right? Now, if you look at the C license, people. It tells you the course length. It says the UEFA diploma requires a minimum of total of 60 hours. A minimum of 50 will be spent studying guided interactive content, and a minimum of 10 hours work experience, meaning you got to be on the field for 10 hours at a minimum, and you got to be spending 50 hours doing some studying, and on and off pitch type work you do should be split 50-50, right? And here's what they require, what it does actually, what it's meant to do. There are 4 pillars. The coach, create an environment. I won't go through all of this in detail. I'll just give you an example. It's very simple to get your C license, which is equivalent to a D license, I think, in CONCACAF. Even though I heard Speed said B is basic, which is interesting. So create opportunity. This is just basically for the kids. Make sure you create an environment so they can operate well, be positive, have all different type of people, learn how to play the game. The player gotta make sure they adopt a holistic approach to player development, improve the player's basic skill. You gotta know to control the ball and pass the ball and run off the ball and all that. Encourage players to think of themselves. These are simple things, people. planning and developing various game formats. You got to know how to construct a team, put a team together and all that. It's simple. This is the C license, right? We go through this pretty quickly. And these things mess up. I don't know why this is doing this now. If you look at the B license, which is what we're requiring in CONCACAF, it's 120 hours. People, it ain't taking you forever to get this. Now, here's the interesting thing with the B license. So it's 120 hours, and it says you have to have a valid C license. So to get a B license, you have a C license, and complete a minimum of 6 months coaching experience by the B diploma course start date. What it doesn't say, I need some water, people. So you can put your comments in while we're doing this. Here's what's interesting, people. So you have to have a C license, which anybody in this chat or anybody should be able to get, because it's not that much complex. So you have to complete a minimum of 6 months coaching experience by the B diploma course start date, right? By the B diploma course start date. So if you're learning how to be coaching all your life, I'm sure that carries over. You get credit for your previous coaching experience. So it should be that difficult to get to B license. You get a C license, should take you no time, limited amount of time, and you can get your B license because your coaching experience should matter. And they say it has to be complete a minimum of 6 months coaching experience by the B diploma date. They've been coaching for all their life, been coaching the JPL, so that should be able to apply. I would assume it's not, unlike the A license, which requires some of the coaching experience to be from you get the B license. This doesn't require that. I don't see here. Somebody can correct me, right? And if you look at the B license diploma, people, this is not overly complex. Maybe I should go do this myself, actually. It ain't rocket science. It says and this is UEFA. This is not CONCACAF, but it can be materially different, right? A valid C license, complete minimum of 6 months coaching experience by the B license diploma. Then he talks about course length, right? 120 hours, 95 hours we spend studying content, minimum 25 hours minimum experience. Then it's got to be delivered 50-50 on the pitch and off the pitch, right? You can't just study and go execute what you study. You got to put in practice what you're learning. And he has 4 pillars, almost similar to the previous one. The coach, the player and environment, training, which you didn't have in the C, and the match, right? You didn't have match in the C either. People, this is not rocket science. And the people who have been doing this on their experience should be able to transition this easily to get these licenses. And the timeline between going from C to A is not 10 years, people. Okay? I'm going to go to the A quickly. Anthony say he has his license on FIFA. It's a good. Must be tactical manager for that. But like I said, people, this is not like rocket science. It's not. It's not rocket science. Let me pull this up for A, and then I'll finish doing this. I won't go into pro. Pro is a little bit more complex, more difficult. You have to have a pro to coach in the top 5 leagues in Europe. Actually, in fact, more than top, and the top leagues in Europe. You should say top 5 leagues and top leagues in Europe. So here's the A. Now A is a little bit different. You have to have a valid B, which the JFF requires a B, people, and the B is not complex. Then it says to get the A though, if a company had at least 1 year's experience after graduating with the UEFA B license. So your coaching experience has to get you B for at least 1 year. And you have to coach at 11-a-side football, right? And it tells you, I won't go through all the detail. You can go on the UEFA website and read all of this, people. And then if you go in, it's 180 minimum hours. If you go in there, it talks about course length still. Same 4 pillars, basically. Player, team, coach, before training and match. Similar to the B, much more advanced, right? That's what I want to talk about in coaching. So when we're having this discussion with people, and some people say they might have a big time coach all their life and they don't have the minimum license, I have no empathy and sympathy for you. I don't. Jogam saying, if memory serves, the main difference between C and D US is that the C focuses on one line X defense, mid attack, while the D focuses on all lines. Yeah, they're not material differences between C and D. People, B license to coach in the JPL should be a minimum. The reason why this is important, and I think this was shown up here someplace, if I can find it, it's important for a reason, people. Because they have recognized this. I was trying to bring this up, but it's not coming up. I have no idea where it is. Trying to find something here that I want to discuss before I close this out. Let me take this off. So it says UEFA coaching convention at a glance is updated in 2020. They want to improve the standard. Here's what they're doing is improve the standard of coaching, linking education to employment, practicing coaching skills in situation. No, this wasn't the one I'm looking for. There's something else here. I'm reading the wrong thing because they talk about the football. And they have criteria for the coaches, what they need to meet. You can't be a criminal, as they're not going to want you part of. They mentioned they have 200,000 people involved in coaching in Europe, which is a big number. Today, more than 200 people possess valid UEFA endorsed football coaching license. 200,000 in Europe. As we talked about on previous programs, Spain dominates when it comes to the pro license. I think 3 times the next country that's close to them. There was something here where they talk about improving the players. That's why the license is important, which is they want to improve the footballers, right? Which is what the JFF is trying to do. The JFF is trying to improve the footballers. Now, the license for females were materially different from men, which need to improve. But they really want to improve the football. And to me, you can only do that if you have good coaches. It's like anything else in life. You can't just get up and say, I'm a football coach. I've been doing all my life. And you have nothing to show that you've gone through the requirements and the standards required of a coach. I'm not buying that. So I'll ask you a question, people. If you want a lawyer, you're not a lawyer until you pass the bar. At least in the US, for example, bar exam. And probably similar to in any country you go to. You got to pass the final exam. You want a lawyer who hasn't passed the bar doing the work for you? You're not a doctor unless you pass the medical exams. You want somebody to be your doctor who don't have any license? Will you trust that person? I don't think so. So I know this whole concept, well, I've coached all my life and I'm all great. Well, you know what? Prove it. Prove you can read and write. Prove you can read and write. Because that's all that basically is to me. You have to be a challenged person to be able to fail at least up to the A. You shouldn't be able to fail any of that, actually, even though it is. If you say you're a brilliant coach, it should be standard for you to say that, you know what? I can get those requirements and be licensed. I don't think anybody should go to JPL eventually until they have a pro license. The JPL should get to the point where you can't coach in JPL and you have a pro license. And by the way, all those requirements you have for those licenses, in terms of the practical work, or you have to do theory and practical, you can do them in Jamaica, a lot of it. Even though I think some people should go overseas and learn more. No, I mean, you should not be coaching JPL in the next 5-6 years unless you have a pro license. Because pro license take a little more time. You should not be coaching JPL after 2026 unless you have an A license. Makes no sense to me. Minimum requirements, people. That's why go to school and take exams. Why not just say everybody is great because they went to school? Right? Exams in school, then if you say you're so great because you've been doing coaching all your life, maybe that's part of the problem Jamaica is facing. But we can't produce world-class footballers because we don't have good coaches. That's not debatable. Because we say we have the ingredient and the raw material, but we're not cultivating the raw material to make the raw material into something which is productive and something which everyone can be satisfied with and people can play at the highest level. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. So this whole concept of I'm a coach and I've been a good coach and you don't know what you're talking about. I've coached all my life. Well, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should try another discipline because you ain't proving it. I'm going to talk about the Lowe thing after I finish my little diatribe on this coaching thing. But as I said before, telling me that you coach here or you coach there and coach everywhere, but you can't show nothing? Sorry, not buying it. You can have no accreditation to substantiate that you're a good coach. None. So let me hear some of the comments here. One will say it should be there eventually, only pro license, but why the JPL pay so little? It is unreasonable to expect coaches to have the top license, which is expensive without support. Yeah, well, Bob's Grain said they were trying to get everybody at primary school level to get the D license, right? Which is grassroots level. And they may be sponsoring that. I think there's opportunity for like 500 coaches. So I think the government is getting involved. This is loud. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing not too shabby, man. Here chilling,
Okay. What you want to talk about today?
It was about to touch on the Damion Lowe topic.
Yes, I'm going to touch on it. Yes.
Well, I'll go right away because I was about to touch on the Reggae Boyz topic because I know you have been talking about the Arsenal game and the Man City, or the ref was a little bit, slagging you off the back, and the game, how the game plays into Man City and the thieving and the unfairness basically, and the ref and Trossard was being a little bit thick-led, but other than that, and the coaching likes the thing. Other than that, I just came on to say, what are your thoughts on the squad? I mean, going forward into these new 2 games.
Which squad? Which squad?
The Reggae Boyz squad.
Okay.
How you feel like we're looking? And based on names, do you feel like we really have the best players, like in one of the best squad, like Reggae Boyz? Do you feel like we have one of the best squad in the CONCACAF?
That's an interesting question. I don't know how to answer that question, and here is why. I don't know what a squad is, but when we say squad now, it's the 23 players, right? It's not just the starting 11, or it's not just the first 18, it's the 23. Now, if you look at CONCACAF, Mexico, the US, Canada are ahead of us by a decent distance. Costa Rica, which is re-engineering its team, Panama are very good teams. I think we can compete with them, but we haven't really in the past as much as we should. So when we said one of the best teams in CONCACAF, what are we talking about? Top 4, top 6, top 10? What are we talking about?
Talking from 1 to 6.
Yeah, I think we're in the top 6, but probably just about 6.
Okay. Reason why I brought this up because we have players in the UK diaspora that not playing any football.
Right.
And I did some research. I don't know. I thought the transfer move with Bobby Reid to Leicester City was a good move. He has been dropped. The first 2 games he did start. He played accumulate all the minutes up. He played 150 minutes in 6 matches. And in the EFL Cup, that is a lesser tournament than the Premier League, he hasn't even played, and that's a big worry going forward, that knowing that he's one of our leader on the Reggae Boyz team. That's a big concern for the national team also, because he's not playing enough. He's not playing any football at this moment. Anytime he comes to Jamaica, that's the only time he gets minutes. And I don't see him on the pitch. I see Casey Palmer out there. That's been injured, to be honest. So our midfield is not producing no players that consistently playing matches over, and that's a big worry for me because Bobby Reid is one of our main leaders, and he's not playing for his club. I don't know why. I mean, I thought he said that move was the coach wanted him in the plan, and I don't know. I don't feel like it was a bad move for me personally. I don't feel like Bobby Reid is a Premier League player. I feel like he's a championship player. I mean, I can get a lot of stick for that.
But has he been playing in the Premier League like most of his career? So how do we say the championship player, but when he's playing in the Premier League?
Because he's at a club that's in the Premier League.
Right, but Fulham wanted him. He decided to go to Leicester, probably more money, right? And Fulham is a very good team, by the way, this year.
Yeah, Fulham is a brilliant team also. I like the transfer that they did, but I don't think Bobby Reid, I don't feel like he's a Premier League. A lot of players are playing in the Premier League, but they're not Premier League quality. Let's see.
But you can't say that. Come on, you gotta be careful with that statement.
No.
Because then the question is, they may not be exceptional players, but if they're playing in the Premier League and the team decided to keep them in the Premier League, because they could sell them or loan them out, they think they're good enough to help them stay in the Premier League or do well. So they must be Premier League quality if they're in the Premier League. Because a lot of teams that come from the Championship turn their team over when they get to the Premier League.
I shouldn't have said championship. I should have stated that he's like more like a foreign-based player. He would be looking good in like the Dutch league, like a French league or a German league, but not a player that belongs in the top two league. Let's per se. I'm just being honest. Maybe if he go to another foreign league, he can show his true talent, but he's not getting any minutes to show his what he can do, and that's a big concern for me because when he come back to Jamaica, he's gonna start. He's gonna play the full 90, and
Right.
that's my worry. I don't want to see him just basically showing up for Jamaica. I want to see him show up for his club. I don't want no. But for me, his last 7 games, he has some 6 and 5s in his last 7 games. He hasn't really gave us anything tremendous. In his last game, he played okay. He turned over the ball twice. A
Right.
lot of players turn over the ball twice, but how you feel about that? I'm just so sad for him that he's a Reggae Boyz player, and my critique on him is fair because I want to see him develop into a player that, remember, he's not getting any more younger. He's 31. So if we're looking forward towards 2026, Bobby may not be in the starting lineup, to be fair.
Yeah, look, we if we say Bobby Reed is not what we're looking for and we don't have anything better, then we can't say that, right? We can't show players who are better than him to put in the team. So, and he's a hard worker, he's a utility player, he's exceptional going forward or coming back. No, but he's a good player. Right?
Yeah, he's a good workhorse.
Yeah,
but workhorse.
Well, I mean, I don't know. He's the one who passed the ball to Antonio when he got a penalty in the last game.
Right. He's not a technical player. He's a workhorse player. He's a hard worker. And every teams need a player like that. But
no, he's not. No, you can't say. So let me just say this. Yeah, is Bobby Reed an exceptional player? Technically, no, but you got to think about it this way. He's been playing the Premier League for a long time. It's like when Xhaka used to play for Arsenal. Everybody says Xhaka is not good enough, and every coach will come and picks him. They see something that they like, right? He's doing something that they think can help the team. So you have to give him credit. Is he the most technical player? No. Is he the best goal scorer? No. Is he the best passer? No. But his overall attributes are things that teams look for: hard worker, decent technically, give a yeoman's work 24/7, never rob the game, never shy away from putting in the work. So you got to give him credit. All right?
All right. Okay.
All right, sir. Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right, thanks. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, let me say something, people, which is because I'm going to go back to the low thing. Go back to the low. By the way, people, for those of you in the chat, I love when this happens, people. When people bring up the need for licenses, accreditation, confirmation of your ability to do a job, we come out with this thing. Well, the degree is not give you A, the degree is not give you B, the degree is not give you C. Stop. Don't do that. Stop doing that. That's because here's my problem with that. Then you're saying we shouldn't have any exams at all. Let's not do any exams in school. Let's not do any exams for any discipline at all. No one is saying that the license makes you a football genius. It's a minimum requirement. We got to have minimum standards, as we don't know who can do what. The society is built on minimum requirements, standard you got to achieve. Now, what you do with that when you get it is a different story. But there's a reason why society reward people who have CPAs and MBAs and PhDs and all that more than they require people who ain't got no high school diploma or who got a high school diploma. There's a reason. Because you've achieved a certain level of intellect that they can leverage to do something. You've shown and demonstrated that you have the ability to learn and that you have learned something. Please don't say, well, it doesn't teach you this, it doesn't teach you that. We know that. It's a minimum standard. And it's frustrating to me when people start going on that path because you're basically saying we shouldn't have any exam for anything. So why don't Kranky just become a doctor and go operate on you because you think that he knows medicine? Go ahead before the game.
Yeah, you essentially said what I was calling to try to clarify. I think there's some, like, I listened to a conversation earlier today, and I think JD is still on, so I can call him. I think he was part of the conversation. when it comes to player development. And
here you go again. Your phone is messing up. He's gone. His phone dropped. So, hello.
yes, I'm here.
Your phone was messing up, I think you live in the Himalayas, right? That's maybe where you live. Or is it Mount Everett? Because this phone just keeps. By the way, my previous caller, it was clear as day. So you can't say, Kranky, it's your phone. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Before the game from the Himalayas calling people. What do you
No,
or is it Mount Everest? Which one? Or is it Kilimanjaro? Which one are you calling from?
We gotta blame the phone company.
All right. So you were saying, sorry, before I interrupted.
Earlier today, right? That I think one of the things.
You're coming in and out. You may have to type everything. It takes a long typing. If you get AI to type for you, it takes it to You're coming in and out. Seriously. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. One of the things that happens is that some people, in trying to articulate the position on license, make it sound as though, well, if Kranky never played, he never coached, and he go gets an A license, that he's better equipped to coach than someone who has played coach and has a B license, right? And I think that's the thing. I think the first thing is, especially in any country, in any region, and in our region in particular, we have to want the best for our young children. That's the first place it starts. I think you're in formal learning. I heard yesterday, I listened to Cole Torre, who was at Leicester with the first team, who is now an assistant coach for Manchester City under 18B team, talk about that position with pride. Why? Part of it is he's able to go watch Pep Guardiola coach on a daily basis. That there, you don't get in any coaching course. And that is going to make him...
I don't agree with that, because he's in a coaching course.
Yes, no.
That's part of the coaching course.
What? No.
The practical. Well, that's a practical.
It's informal learning. That's my point. My point is that's informal learning. That's not what you.
No. That is formal learning. So here's where we disagree. No, that's formal learning. So here's the thing, though. The misconception is that formal learning is just on textbook.
No,
right?
We have to separate.
So when doctors are going through their residency, they gotta go watch the doctors perform an operation, and then they have you be us be guinea pigs, and you gotta try on us to get that's practical. That's not a textbook.
Hold on, what is Football Guru referencing here? I'm not against coaching license. I don't understand what he's saying, and I understand the process. I've been through the process, so I don't understand his point here.
UK players on decline in their careers. Players like Reed's national team star where he gets a certain amount of good faith.
But you have something about A and B license. The thing is, it's required. It's minimum standard, as you mentioned just now. You should have it, but it doesn't guarantee anything in terms of one's ability. Everybody in the EPL has it. Everybody have a pro license. It's a minimum requirement.
Yep.
However, the difference between Pep and the other 19 coaches, or let's say Pep and Arteta and the other 18 coaches, it has nothing to do with the pro license. I think it has to do more with Pep upbringing and in La Masia as a player, his time at Barcelona, his mentorship with El Loco and these guys. I think all of that contributes to who he is as a coach. Does the pro license play a role? Yes, it plays a role, but I think it's probably about 20 or 30%, right, of who he is as a coach.
Yeah,
and
but here's the thing, though.
you
have to know the fundamentals to make sure you come to the ranks, you're teaching people the right way, right? That's all this is all about, us all. Which is,
right, of course.
Do I have the fundamentals? I'm teaching to control the ball. If I haven't learned the real technique to control the ball, go through that process, I may have been doing it wrong because I just grew up doing it on the street and I'm good at it. But I may be teaching somebody may not be able to learn the way I've learned it, right? So I'm not teaching the fundamentals the right way. Right. And I think that's important to convey to kids when you're trying to coach kids and try to coach individuals. So I'm not sure people really sort of get that, right? Because some kids grow up playing football, they become brilliant football because they just have an innate talent and they weren't coached really well, but they went through. But that's not normal. That doesn't work for the average person.
The license is just a part of it. There's a whole lot of other things when it comes to developing players. Because the conversation I was listening to today is about developing players in the region, right? And it's there was a study done some time ago that compared. They took 3 clubs, and the quality of the pitches was 3 different levels: good, poor, and great facilities, and players with the same characteristics. And at the end of the day, they came back saying that the difference between the players that worked on the best pitches and the worst pitches, there was a big gap in the development. So there's a number of different things that aid development, and coaching license is not the only one. The quality of your surface is important, the type of environment that you create. Because at the end of the day, when we discuss this, we talk about this as though we are just trying to develop footballers. What we're essentially trying to do is prepare people to be productive members of society. And we get some footballers out of that. So the benefit is we create good people. If 10% of them become good footballers, great. But the other 90% is going to have to function within our society doing other things. And we would hope that they would have been developed with integrity, with discipline, and all the values, that we'd be proud of them.
And let me just say this, people, that's an imperative. Coaching license in Jamaica is a must. You know why? Because over the years, I've seen a ton of Jamaican players. And indiscipline is almost like it's innate. Let me just say that again. Indiscipline is, for the Jamaican football, a lot of them, not saying all of them, a lot of them is almost like it's innate. It's bad. I've had, when I was talking about somebody from Red Bulls, they said, no, I want a Jamaican on my team. I said, oh no, we have a Jamaican in our league. Nope, don't want any Jamaican on my team. And I've seen them operate. So if you have coaches, you're saying, who are teaching the kids, and it's educationally and also on the field, developing them as individuals, and them understanding that discipline, integrity, all those attributes are important for them in their growth and development, then it allows them to become better footballers, because they won't have some of the attitudes that they have, which lead to their downfall, and which restrict and preclude them from growing the way they should be growing. So that discipline component is a big component of being a good footballer.
I don't know if I'm not communicating clearly, but Football Guru is directing some questions at some statements at me, and I'm not so sure what he's hearing. Maybe
there's no football guru here. There's a person in the stadium named Football something, but he's not a guru in anything.
Yeah, he's directing some statements that and I think JD is better equipped to understand what I'm saying.
Most employers I know use a degree to filter out some, but most will hire the person the most experienced when it comes to needing a skill. God.
And the one after
go ahead.
Yeah, look, we have to take development of footballers of young people more seriously, and we are not just developing footballers, because a lot of them would not make it in football for one reason or the other. And we have to realize that the responsibility for developing young people is a massive one, and we have to create an environment that nurtures that development in a way that society on the whole would benefit. Right? We talk about educating players, making sure they could speak, not just play football, but they could speak. They know how to carry themselves. They have the environment that we create. Is honest and have a lot of the values that we're going to need them to have as they grow in society. So we need to, when we talk about development of players, it needs to be a broader discussion and not just solely focus on football and license and that kind of stuff, because you can have all the license in the world. If our intention is not to provide the best to our young people, then I think it all goes to drain, because there's a lot of people with license here in the US, a lot of people. And, you would question what is happening on a daily basis on the football pitch, right?
Yeah, agreed.
So I think we need to broaden that discussion and have that discussion with, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of people that contribute to the discussion, and have not been through the process, not the licensing process, not the player development process. They're not coaching, and they see things from a perspective that doesn't necessarily work. As a coach, you have to know. We have coaches, we have people in the Caribbean who want to work as coaches. They want to coach national teams, right? And they have not done what Patrick Vieira has done, right? Coach at a youth team at City before he got out and went in other direction. What Yaya Toure is doing at Tottenham, what Kole Toure is doing at City now again. What even who's the boy? Who's the boy from Jamaica who's at Stoke?
Ricardo Fuller.
Ricardo Fuller is at Stoke. You know, he's going through the same process. That process, I think, is very important when it comes to trying to develop as a coach. You spend some time. You know, we have a couple from Trinidad who wants to coach at the highest level but haven't gone through that process. You know, so your ideas as a coach, how do you know it's going to work? Ateta know about his ideas. He knows it's going to work because he has tested it. He's gone through that process. I don't know how you know if you don't go through that process. So,
yep, I agree, sir. All right, thanks.
All right,
appreciate it.
All right, give thanks.
Yep. Let me say this, people. To Football Guru, I'm glad you. Football Guru, whatever you call his name. I'm glad you're in the chat. You came on my channel, and you made some statements. And I didn't respond to you that time, so you're just now in the chat. So I'm gonna respond to you now. And you mentioned something that I come on this forum. And I act like I know more than anybody else. And I act like I know more than the FIFA auditors and the CONCACAF auditors. And I didn't entertain you. And you mentioned a couple of people who you say are smarter than me. And you mentioned a couple of people who you're saying probably are auditors of what they do. I did send my information, Football Group, to one of those individuals. He didn't come back to me. Talk to him. You hear me, Football Guru? Talk to him. And then go on my link and then come talk to me. That's all I'll say to you, because you challenge me and you make comment statement in the section to, I'm not sure what you're trying to accomplish, but I send my information to the person. You go talk to that person, then come talk to me, Football Guru. Otherwise, let's not have any more conversation about that. All right? Let's not have the conversation, because it's a mood conversation. Because you like to challenge people about certain things. I don't come here and talk about things I don't know. I try to make sure I do my research first, or talk about my experience or things that I do know. So I don't get a little bit perturbed when people like yourself come in these forums and make your blanket statement and beat your chest and walk away. And in my mind, I'm saying you just come across like a moron from where I sit. Period. You don't like it? Tough. But go talk to the person. I send them the link for my information. They can give it to you. And then come back. Don't do like the person does. Because the person also said the same thing to me. When I said my information, he got silent. Don't come silent. Come back here and run your mouth like you like to do. Okay? Don't get silent like he did. All of a sudden, he lost his tongue and he goes on another avenue. Don't come here and get silent like he did. Let's hear what he has to say about my information that I provide to him, and come challenge me about CONCACAF auditors or FIFA auditors and their abilities. Okay? Otherwise, let me go to Damion Lowe, because I was smiling when you said that, but I made sure I send information to that person who you mentioned in this channel. So let's hear from them. Let's go back to Damion Lowe, people. So I brought this up because I've been accused numerous times. I don't have to, Football Guru. I don't have to. Football Guru. Go get him. Don't be like the person that you mentioned did. Go get my information and come talk to me. Go get my information and come talk to me. First of all, I never said I was better than anybody. You're the ones who brought it up. I said I could do the job, right? I didn't come here and talk about how I'm better than all these people. You say I think I'm better than, and I said, yeah, I probably am. Go look at my information, then come talk to me, Football Guru. Otherwise, good evening. Bless up Ted Dexter. Good point. Good evening. Let's go to Lowe, Football Guru. Because you run your mouth, you come before you run your mouth about qualifications and criteria and all of that. And I keep telling you that I think I have some idea what I'm talking about. And by the way, people, as I mentioned at the outset of the show, I'm going to be doing a show sometime between this and next week on the statutory declaration made by the Prime Minister in Jamaica concerning his finances. I'm reading through the report. It's 170 plus pages. I'm in the 40-something page. I'm going to talk about a number of things, including the audit that was done, what I deem to be the quality of the audit, what they did, what some of the challenges are. And I also do a reaction video to the Prime Minister in his response, which I didn't think was okay in a lot of instances. And I think the auditor's credibility are being questioned, which should not be, because I looked at their bio, but we'll get into that at a later date. But it should be a good show. I don't care who they audit a Football Guru. I don't care who the auditors. If they're from PwC or Deloitte, or they're from Football Guru, stop. I don't care if they're from PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. Who else we have out there? Because there's 4 of them nowadays. I can't believe I'm forgetting them. Deloitte and Touche, KPMG. I don't care where they're from, Football Guru. So I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Go look at the information and come talk to me, Football Guru. And by the way, Football Guru, both external and internal audit, not just one. Okay? Not just one. Anyway, people, back to Damien Lowe. So I've been given a hard time about Damien Lowe, that since I met Damien Lowe, I am less critical of him. But what has also come up to me, which is very obvious, is that Damien gets the fan base is totally divided on Damien Lowe. Totally divided. You will see people have laughter comments. Some may even have hateful comments. Some people believe that I am culpable in the fact that I don't come and criticize him like I supposedly used to, because I'm compromised. Some have said that I overly criticize him, right? There is no I haven't caused aspersion on anyone. You're the one coming here making your statements. You're a JFF plant. You either work for them or you're a plant. I think I know who you are, but I won't call you out. I don't cause aspersion on anyone. I said somebody told me that they audited the conflict in the JFF. And I said, if you audit JFF conflict, you don't know what you're doing. I'm not taking that back. I'm going to come here one day and walk you through how audit conflict audits should be done. Because either the JFF, you or FIFA don't know what the hell they're doing. If they audit the conflict in the JFF and say it's okay, either they lack integrity or they don't know what they're doing. So let's not have the conversation, because you're starting to annoy me, because you have no idea what we're talking about. If somebody from JFF told you that they did a conflict of me and my organization, they say we are okay, I'm saying you don't know what you're doing. Now, the audit done on the Prime Minister, those people know what they're doing. Let me say that again. The audit done on the Prime Minister of Jamaica in a statutory declaration, given the detail that they provided, which is what you call your work papers, and they outline chronologically what they did, they have an idea what they're doing. You, Football Guru, have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, let's go back to this. So for Damien Lowe, I've been accused of being too critical or not being critical enough, or that I got compromised after I've met him. And it's not the case. I've always said the player should play at a high level. I've been saying that for years. But I've also said the player makes decisions which challenges football acumen, even though he's a smart person. Right? And I'm going to have some stats to show you people, which is indicated. And one of the reasons why people get concerned about him and his aggressiveness. If you look at some of the comments, and I did pull up some of those comments, I can't find them now because I have so much information here. Comments, you know what? Maybe I have some of them here. That people make about him. Here's some of the fan comments. Damien Lowe is solid. He gives 100% every time he steps on the pitch. You can tell he's passionate about the team, and that's what we need. Someone else has said, I respect how he's not afraid to put his body on the line. He's a real soldier for Jamaica. Then others may say, wait, there's some here that are not as positive. There are times when I feel Lowe can be too aggressive. He sometimes picks up unnecessary yellow or red cards, which put the team in a tough spot. Another fan says he's a good defender, no doubt. But when he makes mistakes, it's usually a big one. That's when the fans get frustrated. Another, and I would agree, it's true that Lowe is very aggressive. But a lot of times he's effective, right? He has had, we call disciplinary issues in terms of yellow cards. That's not debatable. he will push back on the number of red cards he's got. And I have some stats, people. We're going to walk through them because they're really interesting. I'm not saying he's a top-level player. I say he can play at a high level, which is higher than where he's played a lot of his career. And I've gone through his entire career, right? Another fan is saying, honestly, Lowe is one of the best defenders we have had. I get why people get mad sometimes, but without him, our defense would be a mess. Don't necessarily agree with that. Someone says he's a great player, but sometimes I feel he needs to keep cooler head. We can't afford mistakes in big game. As at the end of the day, all the coaches who come to Jamaica pick Damion Lowe. Let me repeat, they all pick Damion Lowe. So they must see something. And frankly, I've said it before. Damien Lowe has played the best game ever for a Jamaican footballer while we're in national colors. I'm not taking it back. The game against, and that was one half. The game against Canada in one half of game is the best game since I've been watching Jamaican football I've seen a player play, period. Best meaning most impactful, given the situation, given the circumstances, given the outcome, given his effectiveness, most impactful game. I don't think it's even debatable. But having said that, Damien has to do a better job when it comes to his aggressiveness. And I've shown stats from the last game he played. He had the best stats against Honduras by far, and though he got injured. I think he was 27 of 28 passing. And the one pass he made was a long pass that he missed. And his long ball in the previous game against Cuba wasn't that good. I think it was like less than 50%. And if he stopped playing the long ball and play more mental versus physical, I think he's going to be in a much, much better place. Much, much better place. But I did pull up some stats because I think it was interesting stats for Damien, which I'm going to put up here because I think it's important. So people, I need to hit the like button. Hit the like button, people, because I think I deserve. I went and did some analysis. So here's my analysis, people. Can you guys see this? Tell me if you can see this. So I went ahead and say, you know what? Since we've been talking about Damien Lowe and stats, and Damien pushed back on red cards and yellow cards, let me do some analysis and generate these stats for people to consume. So here's what I did. I pull up the stats for games played, goals and assist contribution, yellow and red cards, and card to games ratio for our 4 main central defenders. I didn't have King on here, but these are the main one, I think. And then what I did for just my own way is to pick 4 very aggressive defenders, because Lowe is aggressive, and show those aggressive defenders. And I even picked one defender who doesn't have a team currently, who is Sergio Ramos. If you can see from this list, so Damien has played over 300 games. And these people, this is national team. So here's where I have it. So you see here, number of games played, and this number I got from Transfer Market. So don't kill me if they're a little bit off. 311 games, and this goes from when you play for like under 20 all the way through to your current situation. He's played 311 games. Pinnock 312, Bernard 192, Hector a lot of games 445. Then I decided to do something. 3 defenders I think in the world who are very aggressive: Gabriel from Arsenal, Romero from Tottenham, and the one we know well, Sergio Ramos, in his history, right? So here are the numbers. Goals scored, and look, goals scored and assists are not imperative, but I figure I'll just have them here to give you a view. Because you look at the goals scored, Lowe has done well versus the others, right? Gabriel is scoring a lot of goals nowadays with his headers, given our set pieces. But Lowe has done well concerning this, and decent in assists compared to everyone else. But Ramos is off the chart, people. Like, look at this. This is like a center forward. In fact, his goal ratio is not far from Antonio. But anyway, let me not go there. His goal contribution, like 190, almost 209.96. This is ridiculous for a center half, even though he started at playing right back and then go center half. But look at the yellow cards, people. Lord have mercy, let me say Jamaica. Lowe has 102 yellow cards. And if you see here, he has red. He has 10 red. Somebody told me, he has 10. But 5 of his red were yellow, where you got 2 yellow cards, get a red. That's why you see this things in parentheses here. Look at Pinnock. One would say, well, Pinnock has no aggressiveness. 16 yellow cards in 312 games. And by the way, the national number is beside these. So 15 by Pinnock, 18 by Deshaun, 45 by Hector. Marguerite hasn't played that much. I think Ramos has, I forgot to put Ramos here. It's like 100 and something for Spain. 180 for Spain. I should put that here. It's 180. He has for Spain. And by the way, Ramos has no red card for Spain. We should go through that. It's really interesting that he has 29 red cards, 19 from double yellows. He has no red card for Spain, which I find interesting. Pinnock only has 16 yellows and 1 red in his entire career. Lowe has 102. Look at Lowe's ratio, people. 2.78, he gets a yellow card. I guess a card every 2.7 games because it's both red and yellow. Pinnock gets one every 18 games. So you could play. Pinnock would get 2 yellow cards in like an entire Premier League season, just over 2. Bernard is 5. So Bernard is pretty aggressive. He has 6 reds, 4 from double yellows in 192. Yeah, but his is every 5 games he gets a card. Hector every 5 games. Gabriel Margulies, who's very aggressive every 6 games. Romero from Tottenham, who we call Madman and Wildman, close to Pinnock. I mean, that's close to Lowe. If you think about aggressive players, let's try to bring this out. Let's say every player, let's bring up players who I thought are very aggressive, but play at a high level, where it's more intense. And even Sergio Ramos with 29 red cards, get a card every 3 games. So Lowe has the worst ratio of all 7 people I have here. Which Damien, it can't be good, Damien. You're too aggressive. You gotta show more patience. He has 10 red cards, which is a big number compared to everybody. Look at Hector's 445. Hector played some games at midfield, which Lowe has played, but he only has 5 red and 3 are from double yellow cards. Lowe has 5 straight reds, 2 for Jamaica, by the way. 2 straight red for Jamaica, no double yellow red for Jamaica. Ramos has none for Spain. Romero has none for Argentina, by the way. It's interesting people get all these reds in club competition. And Gabriel Margulies have none for his national team. So all these players you see here have none for the national team. Pinnock has no red for the national team. Gabriel, Christian, Sergio, Bernard. Heck, Recht have 1 for the national team, actually. I forgot who he was playing against. But Lowe has 2 for the national team. So you can see from these stats, they don't serve Lowe red. So when Lowe pushed back on some of these things, he hasn't checked his stats. Yeah, the red from is team. You said yesterday. I'm not sure about yesterday, but whatever red he got when he went to Saudi Arabia, wherever he went to for the team he's playing for, that red is in there. Because people were telling me he had 8 reds. No, he has 10 red. He has 10 red. So look, not the greatest stats, people, in terms of his card ratio to game. So every 3 games he gets a card. So if he plays in the Premier League, he'd be suspended for like 2-3 games in the season just by accumulating yellow cards. But Pinnock is also an extreme, people. Every 18 games, Pinnock has 1 red card, none in the EPL. And that red card, I forgot where it was for. It may have been in the championship. I forgot where it was. It's a while ago, too. Yeah, he has 5 straight red, which is a lot compared to everybody else. Gabriel has no straight red. Hector has 2 straight red. Romario only has 2 straight red. Right? And these people play a lot of games. Look at Ramos, almost 1,000 games. He has 4 more to go to 1,000. He doesn't have a club now. But these stats, people, is what I got from Transfer Market. So if things are not totally accurate, then blame Transfer Market. Spend a lot of time today going to this research, getting information. That's why I see me here complain and whine and complain about not getting likes, because I do spend time doing this. But I thought this comparison was good for Lowe because I think he sometimes pushed back on this narrative. Then he's asked, how much red card have I got? Well, Lowe, if you compare to everybody else, it's not good. It's not good. Look how much game, even though Ramos has 29, he's played 3 times the game you played. So you and Ramos are probably similar in terms of red card. And Ramos take these tactical reds a lot of time. Right? And Ramos get a straight red every what? He has 10 straight red. So every 9.9 games, and you have one every 3 points. So yeah. It's not good. It's not good. Actually, it's every 19, almost every 100 games, he gets a straight red. While Lowe gets a straight red, he does 5 into 311. Not good, Damien. But I'll say this about Damien, which is I think Damien is a warrior. I think he goes and put everything for the national team. He's a very confident player. He gives his best. He has produced when called upon. He got out to the Nations League, because without him, Canada would have beaten us. We probably could have gone through the back door. But he's a servant, and he probably should. He doesn't get as much respect I think he should get. He gets a lot of beating, especially from the supposed football gurus. And yeah, he has deficiencies in his game. they're too late for him to change. Yeah. He has back-to-back red card. Where? In where he's playing now? Because that couldn't be where he's playing now because he'd be missed games, right? I don't remember back-to-back, but if he had back-to-back, it may be a good thing because that means there are games in between, which if you average it out, look worse than it is. Yeah. Pinnock should have taken red games in Holland. Interesting. By the way, Pinnock played for England C team. I didn't know England had a B C team. I know England had a B team. When I was doing the research, I noticed that he played for England C team. I have no idea what that is. And he played in the National League. That means probably play like non-league football. He came the hard way up the ranks, and he's done extremely well. He's had a tough time in the last 3 games, but he's a very good footballer. And you can see here, I bet Saliba's statistics are probably similar to Pinnock. There's some footballers who just read the game really well and play with their technical ability and skill set versus just playing physical. Women say, Lowe has all the tools to be a quality center back. He's better than people say, but he could be better at times. He does things that show a lack of basic development. Maybe it's the coaching, right? Maybe it's him not learning certain things that's fundamental. He developed bad habits, and those bad habits carry over to his professional career. Well, if he got back-to-back WeMax, then it shows you what we're talking about. He has the worst ratio here. When you're worse than Sergio Ramos, that's not good. Because Sergio Ramos is just an indisciplined player. I think he just gets red for fun. But the good thing about Sergio Ramos, which is interesting, is he never gets a red for his national team. I think he has about 20-something yellow cards, 24 yellow cards, I think it is, for his national team in 180 games. So his ratio for national team is worse than it is for his club team. Last call of the night. Good night.
Yeah, Kranky, big up yourself.
How are you doing? Uh-oh. I think you got dropped. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. You got dropped. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go. Say it again. Say what you just said a while ago.
I said, Fatal here.
Hey, Fatal, how you doing? Yeah, man. Yeah,
I'm good. Big up yourself.
Yeah, man.
You're
the last caller for the evening, by the way. Closing down after this. Yes. You're the last caller.
Yeah. You saw what JT post? He asked if did you include the last red card he got? Because
no, not the one he just got. No, I did. Yeah. I did it as of today, so I don't think Transfer Market picked that up. So maybe he's up to 11. Maybe he's up to 11. Yeah. Why would he get 2 red cards in back-to-back games? Like, what are you thinking? And then you complain about people calling you out for getting red cards or for getting cards. Then he when he was on management program and I interviewed him, he got upset. He was perturbed that management told him that I was criticizing him, and then he got all into it in terms of saying XYZ. But when I met him, he was the nicest person.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard him on interviews, and he's really polite. You know, like I say, come out very professional and thing. And nothing wrong with that. You know, but I like the fact that you present the statistics because it really kind of helped. Hopefully, he's watching because I would like to say to him that last game he had against Honduras, he was flawless.
He was. Wait, Mr. Fatal. People. So this is not Kranky saying it because here's the thing. When I say it, there's somebody named Chris Smith. I don't know who the hell he is. Wherever I am, he watched my program, by the way, because the only way he can know some things he says because he watched my program. He always brings it up with me and Lowe. Lowe, he's Lowe friend. Lowe and I are not friends. I don't know Lowe that way. Lowe was nice to me when I met him. He's not my friend. I call things like I see them. Do you get more reluctant to be harsh in the criticism? I've been saying people got to reduce their harsh criticism of everybody. I've been saying this since I had my program. Saying I'll come on here and just try to destroy Lowe because I don't feel that way about Lowe. I think Lowe is a good player. Lowe gave him the last thing, Fatal, as you're saying. He was, 27 of 28 or something like that? Like 96%. And the one ball he didn't play to somebody was a long pass he tried to make. He was brilliant.
No, man. If anybody even argue against that, they would be lying, in terms of not watching the game right and just discrediting everything somebody else tried to do. But no, man, it was flawless. He had a great game. Even the game before that, he didn't look bad. But without a doubt, that Honduras game, he was flawless. And I say that to say that if he even rewatch that tape and see the way he played, and there's moments like that where he's had great games, you know what I mean? Because you can pinpoint out a couple of games and say, yo, he had great moments. Even the Canada game when he came up in the midfield and everything. I think the thing with Lowe is that sometimes, a lot of times, like with the red card, the calling after the walking, the red card or the yellow card accumulation, is the fact that when we see him get some of the cards, it's kind of like it wasn't necessary. Like the tackle, when you see him probably coming with a tackle, you're kind of like, why? Him even kind of, behaved or went so rash or
no. Here's what it does for a guru. It
player.
makes fans uncomfortable because they're saying you're so aggressive. If you do something the ref doesn't like it, you're gonna be sent off. So when fans are watching the game and he gets yellow, they get uncomfortable, and these stats prove that out. That's why they're uncomfortable.
I know, but I'm saying he always comes off. All right, you see, Antonio Rudiger. This is all he reminds me of Antonio Rudiger. And when Antonio Rudiger running, it's like a little bit wild and look rough.
Right.
So it just come off like that. It just really just come off aggressive with his tackling. You see me? And the thing is, especially the CONCACAF region, it's the South Americans, they're great at it. They know if it just flaunt a look of fake or whatever.
Yes,
you understand?
They do that a lot, yes.
Everything.
Central American and South Americans are known for being deceptive. In England, they call it cheating, but they're known for being deceptive.
Yes, man. Yes, man. And that they make the game go into the basketball game, it's just that them know how to just create this acting persona when them try to do when them play the game. So it really and truly, even if Lowe might be so rash, it will come off looking that, and the ref sometimes play into their hands. So I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I just hope Lowe watch that tape and realize, listen, if he reads the play like how he was reading it with Pinnock, and most people would say, the best him look is when he's playing with Pinnock, because maybe that humbleness kind of help the balance of it.
Right.
But if he reads the play when he's playing with the likes of a Pinnock, he can do so much better. You know what I mean? And I think it's the thing that we like with Pinnock. Pinnock doesn't do a lot of slide tackles. He doesn't do a lot of falling on the floor, because what we have understood, especially how football have changed over the years, is like, listen, normally they'd say, once you start to slide tackle or have to do that fall tackle, you kind of already lost the player, or basically the person has basically beat you already. So it's like you do that for last resort. So the thing is, if you read the game early enough, you know how to break out the player or kind of cut off the play. So those are the things that what Pinnock do so well. And lastly, I think a lot of times why people might discredit or beat on Lowe and say Lowe of the team and things like that is the fact that, listen, if Lowe doesn't play in the back line, say like a Bernard or whatever, nobody get outraged about it. Them say, everything good. We still look all right.
Yeah.
You understand? So he's not always a need, but he definitely warrants to be in the team. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of like what it is when it comes down to the gist of it. But I think Lowe is a very, very one of those players you need sometime, because guess what? You're going to have certain teams where you're going to probably be a little bit, hell-bent or aggressive up top, and you need a player like Lowe to kind of push them back or shake them up a little bit to kind of, you understand, put that little fear into them back. So you need players like that, and it just depends on the type of teams, A team like a US and those teams that are really quick off the ball and things, you kind of want some players like that. Well, Lowe came in and break out the players. He's good at that, kind of scare them when we jump instead of trying to run and do the 50-50 tackles. So that's my take on Lowe still, isn't it? I just really think he's very effective for us, and we need him. We need him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, it just depends on the coach too. Some coach like that. Some coach.
Yes,
really
they do like aggressive
players.
Yes.
England themselves, they like some of those players. You know what I mean? If we even want to be fair, we're not talking in nowadays England, but I'm saying back in the days England, a lot of them kind of have, not necessarily smooth, but I'm just saying some of them did rough. So it's just that they're not, you kind of, some coaches like those old school coaches, they would probably like those players to say, yeah, man, want some of these players to rough up some people. So that's it.
All right, thanks.
Go yourself, country.
Yeah, man, thanks. By the way, Logic, you're being illogical, because I have 311 games. You say it's about record every 30 games, and this is a record every 31 games if my numbers are correct. Now, as I said before, I qualify what I got my information with for Transfer Market, and it showed me all this information I pulled from there. It says he has 67 caps, he has 200, and if you go to Transfer Market, you go to, it says all stats for all leagues he playing. I think it probably include like under 22, if I'm not mistaken. Right? That's what it says on there. You got to add up the national team and the games he played. And if you go through those stats sometime, I probably had your stats initially and went back through the entire thing. So you may not have cup games or those type of games in your numbers. Go back and check your numbers. Go to transfer market. Because if they're wrong, not me. I pull up what I got and I double check my numbers before I came here because I'm an auditor by trade. I double check all these stats. Did it twice. Not only did it once, did it twice and 2 different methods. So football logic, since you're checking my logic, go back and check to make sure you have all those cup games in there and not just regular games that he's played for his professional teams. Between Seattle and all El Attiyad in Egypt, where he is now, Philadelphia, Inter Miami. Go and check those games. Jamaica games, go and check them and come back to me. All right? I'm giving the stats that I got. I came to the stats from transfer market. So go talk to transfer market. That's where I'm getting it from. And you people want to go check the stats, because that's why I do these things in public forum. Go check the stats. Bless up, Milshire Walker. Thanks for being here. Football Guru, I don't understand what your point is, because you come on this channel, and I know you're from the JFF, to create challenges and issues, and I'm not sure what you're trying to say with this, right? People are divided on players. People are divided on players all the time. There's some players who divides opinion in every national team. There's some players who believe Greedy should be in the England team. Some people say he shouldn't be there. The stats don't say he should. Coach pick him, coach don't pick him. In any team, people for Arsenal may say, you know what? Xhaka should never be in the Arsenal team. Every coach come pick Xhaka. Xhaka now go to Leverkusen in Germany and playing brilliant football. Played well for us last year. Some people hated him for different reasons. Whether because he gave them the you know what sign, or because they think he was a good footballer. When every coach come pick him. So people are going to be divided on players. Lowe is the one player. No, look, there's always a good reason to be divided on player. Nobody's divided on Blake. Right? People are divided on Bobby Reed. Some people are divided on Antonio, including your truly as a goal scorer. Right? Nobody's divided on Blake. Nobody I know is divided on Blake. There's a reason. Continual excellence, you can't have division on. People make mistakes sometimes or don't produce the best sometimes. Lowe have intermittent period, like the last game against Honduras or the game against Canada, where he's been brilliant. There are other games where, you know what, you're scratching your head, the hell, what are you thinking? Lowe's a tackler. Oh, Lord. Okay. He's a tackler. So some people tell me in football, if you have to do all this tackling, that you're not doing something right. But that's what I've been taught. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I know before the game. I know. So here's his logic. Lowe has gotten from Jamaica recently with all this nonsense. Sergio Ramos. So here's this thing, football guru, since you're the guru, right? Sergio Ramos played 996 games in total, 180 for Spain. He has 0 red card for Spain. He has 29 red cards, 0 for Spain. Christian Romero don't have any red card playing for Argentina, and he has a ton of them here. He has 7 here. He ain't got none for Argentina. Gabriel Magalhães don't have any for Brazil. He hasn't played a lot of games, only 9. We're trying to make a point. We're trying to show that there's a reason why people are differing on Lowe. He hasn't gotten a red card really recently. Oh, what does that mean? What are you trying to say? We gave him his flowers. Didn't I just say he played the best game ever for Jamaica? All you guys here, football guru, because you're from the JFF, all know here are the bad things one think you know here. You can't give a balanced opinion because it doesn't fit your narrative. You're annoying. You have no objectivity. You're annoying. I'm going to tell you that now. That's how I feel about you. Annoying person who doesn't hear the good, only hear the bad. You sound like Brogard. Because all you did was beat up the auditors. I'm going to talk about that at length and challenge their integrity when all they're trying to do is do their jobs. It's amazing how people like you are. And yes, you're irritating me. Yes, he's irritating me. Come on here. We just talk about Lowe and me saying how Lowe do this and can play at a higher level. And all you hear is, what's your point? I'm trying to bring the point is conversation. You don't let the conversation leave the forum. The conversation is that a lot of people, I get beaten on Lowe 24/7. I'm trying to bring up the point here about people got to give Lowe more credit. But yes, there are things he needs to work on. What is your point? Anyway, people, I'm going to close the stream down. People like football who work for the JFF are just so annoying. All they hear, if I give the JFF credit, they never hear it. All they hear is that the JFF, I said something wrong about the JFF. Tonight, I gave them credit for the coaching thing. Oh, you can even mention that, football guru. I gave them credit for mandating a B license for the JPL because it's a mandatory. I'll give them credit for having game for the girl. Where's your comment in that, Football Guru? All they're saying you're here to do is pick out anything that's they need to be negative and put your opinion up here. It's foolish to compare players against world-class players. Jesus Lord. But you don't see that Pinnock and Bernard and Michael Hector here, who are his mates in the back four. That's why people don't like people like you, Football Guru. That's why they can't stomach people like you, Football Guru. Because your sense of logic and reasoning and objectivity are lost. You have none. Zero. It's amazing how that works. You didn't hear all the comments that Holly Beat Nugget about Lowe. I mean, saying it's good. All you hear was this, what you deem to be negative and the conversation. So, Football Guru, why are you here? I am a negative person, like you and your people, like Speed say. People like Speed and you and the JFF say I'm a negative person, and YouTubers are negative. Why are you? Why are you guys here? You see, you don't want to be the leave. We don't want you here, like you don't want to talk to us. We don't want you here. We don't care if you're here or not. We're gonna have our conversation. You can't stop way. You and Rudolph and JFF, you can't stop you from talking. We'll talk every day. You can come here and whine. I'm gonna put up your comments and whine and complain all you want. We're gonna try to be balanced, but you can't stop us. Because you know what? You don't control. This is not Jamaica where you can control certain things. You don't control these forums. You don't control this forum. Bernard has a card every 5 games. I mentioned all of this. Has a card every 5 games. He got 6 red cards. Yes, it's bad. His ratio is still better than Lowe's. His ratio is better than Lowe. Okay? Yes, Bernard, by the way, have no record for his national team. Only person record national team here is Michael Hector. We're here trying to have conversation about things. We're trying to bring up things that people are focused on and concerned about. All you're here to do is to irritate the you know what out of me. I'm going to take your irritation. I'm going to push back on you. Because you guys don't hear anything that's good. All you and Rudolph and others in the JFF here are bad things. You don't hear any credit you get. But when you get called vultures by the regular media, or when they tell Ricketts to resign, or when they say you guys are incompetent, you guys don't hear that. All you want to do is pick up people you think you have, who you think can't push back on you, because you believe you're smarter than anybody who's on YouTube. That's how you guys think in the JFF. You're smarter than anybody on YouTube, and we are XYZ. No, Lowe is not a hero. He's a good footballer. You're warped in your view about hero. He's not a hero. He's a good footballer. He's not a hero. And I praise him just like everybody else, but he's not a hero. Stop. He's not a hero. Hero is Nanny and those people are a hero. Paul Bogue is a hero. Marcus Garvey is a hero. He's not a hero. Is he worshiping the wrong people? Stop. Go back to the JFF, the people who you laze with all the time. Let them revisit how you think, because you can't think. I'm gonna give him attention because he's annoying the hell out of me. Anyway, let me move on, people. Football Guru, you don't have to. Football Guru, here's the thing, Football Guru. I have no idea why you're here. I don't understand that. You like Chris Smith. Well, every channel I go on, he tells me what I've said when he come on my channel under camouflage, but then he comes playing. Don't complain then. Don't come here and talk cranky. You don't criticize the man who signed his signature, or you don't talk about Lowe. You think Lowe is a good footballer. Every channel I go on, I hear the same thing. I come here and try to provide a perspective, because I hear these noise all the time, and this person come here to irritate me, and he does that really well. Who was talking about Bernard starting? Where are you going with this conversation, Football Guru? Who said anything about Bernard starting? We did a comparative with his center-back partners, and we bring up some of the people who I know are very aggressive, and we have a lot of cards to show the comparisons who he compares a lot globally. And you come and say we're complaining against world-class footballer. Football Guru. You know, we just talk about coaching license. Go get a logic license. Go find somewhere to go learn and get a logic license, because the JFF is not doing a good job of teaching you. No, I'm making it personal, but you're annoying sometimes. You're annoying, Football Guru, because you take the conversation in the direction it shouldn't go in. You take the conversation in the direction it should not go in. We're trying here to provide a balanced perspective, and you and Rudolph and others like you, Rudolph Speed, I'm talking about people. When I say Rudolph, are very sensitive in your feeling. I told Rudolph is conflicted. He said FIFA has audited them, and therefore they have passed FIFA audit. I said FIFA auditors, if they say you're not conflicted and they haven't called you upon it, they don't know what they're doing. Football Guru and Rudolph are then saying, I think I know more than FIFA's auditors and CONCACAF auditors. And I said, yes, I do, if they haven't called you out on this. I gave suggestions about how to treat this. You guys don't want to hear it. But you know what I realized? Conflict in Jamaica is accepted. We think conflict in Jamaica is okay. The prime minister, you know something, people, when you're president of a country, or prime minister of a country, just basically the same thing. One's a republic, one's not, being president, whatever. Your financial information, your financial stuff should be in a trust. You shouldn't be managing your finances anymore. The reason why is because you have so much access and control over everything that's done, especially like procurement things, you can influence. It begs the question, when you have all these accounts, 28 accounts, and you're the prime minister of Jamaica, and you think it's okay. What Donald Trump do in the US is not normal. I work for a company where the CEO went to be the treasurer for the US. Okay? He had hundreds of millions of dollars. He put his account in a trust. He didn't manage account. Somebody in there has to manage it. He has no control over it. There's a reason why. Because in his role, it could be deemed to be conflict. The perception or the actuality of conflict is something which is concerning, which in business people take real serious. And regulators require you to manage. It's important. So for people like Rudolph to come and talk about, my conflict, the view is this: there are other conflicts in Jamaica, so therefore my conflict is okay. If you tell me that Mount Pleasant, or if you tell me that Portmore are involved in owning the league and run the league, that's how the EPL works. The 20 teams in the EPL own the EPL. So different from you being in the JFF, you having a team, I'm sure, older, and you being there, and there's no control over you. Whatever. Trump wasn't emotional, he was nonsensical. The difference between emotional and giving you facts and spitting facts than being nonsensical and make no sense and have no plan and have no policies. But whatever. You will never be Kamala. You will never be Kamala. You're comparing apples and oranges. There's nothing about his guru. You go look up what guru means, because you're misconstruing the word guru. Because you're not guru about anything except nonsensical nonsense. Point I'm trying to make is this: conflict in Jamaica is not okay if it's not effectively managed. The fact the prime minister thinks he can have 28 bank accounts, whether 4 was for his parents or not, and have 24 bank accounts, and have all these companies and money moving in and out, and he controls it and he thinks it's okay. First of all, I'm going to give a session on this. I'm going to say one last thing before I go on this. They didn't look at his expenses because they didn't have access to it. Now they're going to know how money coming in and out. You could have bought a type transaction instead of moving money. Money is not the only way to follow these things to find out what people's net worth is. They brought up the fact that some of these companies, they have no tax compliance. You hear, what's his name, come on this channel and talk about, or come on my channel and talk about the JFF and all tax compliant. You know, people, I just bought this, I'm upset. I just bought this thing here. Look at this, people. I'm going to show you. I bought this at Jersey, and this thing is coming off already. I bought this 2 days ago. Look at this. It was like $100. Cheap ass Adidas. This thing, I haven't done anything to it. And it's, you know what? It's ridiculous. Anyway, you just finish up my evening. I agree, Paul Watkins. It's my fault. It's fine. But I don't like people come here and do it. Whatever. Football Guru, you're the smartest person we know. You're a brilliant person. You make a lot of sense because you work for the JFF. And they're the most brilliant organizations I know. They're wonderful people. They have no conflict. They do nothing wrong. They are perfect people. We should all aspire to be like them. And I hope you continue to work for them, because that's where you belong. Okay? And they pick on people who are not their size. They pick on people who have less profile than the traditional media. We know that's how you guys work. But here's my final thing, people. Conflicts are innate to life. Conflicts are innate to life, right? Conflicts going to happen. They happen, given the nature of your job sometime. But what industrialized countries do and Western countries do, or major companies do, they have procedures in place to manage conflict. Because conflicts lead to bad behavior. And bad behavior are not good, especially in the public domain. Right? Especially in the public domain. You told us you speak to Speed and to Chum. I think you said that on a previous channel, which we can pull up, by the way. So when you come here now trying to deny that association, whatever, you don't love your country. No. Anybody who just never says anything negative that's deemed to be criticism said by the country, you don't love your country. You don't love your country. No, you're a fake. You don't love your country. They said me, I know. You know what? Here's the worst thing about it. I went to the Adidas store at Kings Plaza in Brooklyn, and they didn't have any, and they ordered it for me. And somehow, this thing started pulling up already. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I just got it. I just got it last week. Yeah, they probably sent me a knockout, but it's supposed to come from Adidas, because the Adidas store is the one who ordered it for me, and it came to my home. So I don't know how that works. Hey, Guru, before the game, I ask you a question. Why do you love Jamaica? It's a brilliant question. Why do you love Jamaica? People don't answer for Football Guru because he's the smartest person in the room. He's the next Kamala Harris. He knows everything about everything. He works with the JFF, so he's brilliant. Why do you love Jamaica? Or you just love the conflict? Or you just love Bossa Youth? Or you just love the weather? Or is it, what do you love? Or is the driving? What do you love? Why do you love Jamaica, Football Guru? I'm gonna try to look for it, Football Guru. You said I wasn't as smart as Speed and Chung. So I asked you the question: how do you define smart? How do you know my intellectual capacity? How do you know their intellectual capacity? How do you come to that conclusion when you make that association and that comparison? How does that work? What guru mindset allow you to do that? Yeah, hello, Madrid. I know it's what you mean. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But anyway, people, let me close out because it's 8:30. I don't want to watch this football game. It is where I was born and people are amazing. If that is not one of the worst answer I've ever heard, so because you were born there and the people are amazing, that's it. That's it. That's why you love Jamaica. The people are amazing and you were born there. That are only the rationale why you love Jamaica. Yeah. Ted Dexter. I have to do that. Ted Dexter, for me to do that the right way, it takes about a month. And here people understand. When the Prime Minister comes back and says the audit take 2 years, which then suggests they looked at his entire life and it's ridiculous. What he haven't told people is this. He told them, he gave them what was legally required of him. Now, I can give you something that's legally required, but it's not ethically what it should be. There is so much in that whole thing, Ted Dexter. It's amazing when you read through some of it. I'm only on page 40-something. It's a long read. I got to take time to peruse it, capture information, but it's a well-written document in some respects. There's some elements of it I could be done a little bit better, but it's a lot of information, and it's very chronological, and it's also very detailed. In fact, the report is not we normally give an executive, given the detail in it, but they did for a certain reason, which is to make sure when they're challenged, it can stand up to scrutiny. Because when you do audits, people, you have to have empirical, substantive evidence to substantiate the decision that you make, the conclusions you're reaching. Now, they did what they call scope creep, which means this. I have a scope to do an audit. I'm going to look at the PM's financial for 2021, and it's for the year in 2021. But because they are transactions that overlap periods and certain things that they found, they did what they call scope creep. They went over what the scope should be, because the scope should be defined to 2021, but his net worth and his information can't be defined to 1 year, because it's a continuum. It rolls from year to year. It's really interesting. And I listened to his speech to Parliament, and I was like, you know what? And I hear everybody running out to be first to market with information. And yes, it's good to do that, but it needs more detailed analysis. It takes time to peruse it, to understand it, to assess it. And I have a lot of questions that come up to my mind. Like, how can you reasonably determine somebody's net worth, or whether they're unscrupulous or not, unless you know what the expenses are? I'm going to give you an example, people. If you decide to procure a contract to a contractor, I'll give you an example, just throwing out there, and you say, you know what? Don't move money to me. Just build the house that I have, put on two apartments on the house that I have. It's an in-kind payment. I'll give you a contract to do. I'll influence the contract. Somebody else can give the contract, where you just build a house and we can calculate what that number is. There's no money moving, right? And the money's that move, but I'm richer because my house is now worth more. There's a lot you can think about. The auditors can't cover everything, people. They can only cover what's there. There's so many scenarios you could come up with, which makes the audit infinite. You can't come to any conclusion. And so they're trying their best, and that's probably what they refer to the FID, to do as best as they can. It's hard. It's difficult. It's the last point I make. I've either performed, run, manage, oversee, or being the executive on over 1,000 audits in my career. So I have some insight in terms of how this works. It can be painful. And I've said this last point I'm going to say this. I said this like 10 times. If you are an auditor and you're an excellent auditor and you go up to the line as an auditor, there's some point in your career where you either have to leave the job because of the good work you have done, there are retaliations against you because of the work you have done, you're extremely uncomfortable in what you have done, or you got to go find a new job. If you're and that's why the auditors for the prime minister, can you imagine these people? I'm giving away something I'm going to talk about. Can you imagine trying to audit the financial statement or the financial situation of the prime minister? You know how uncomfortable that is? Because anything that you do is subject to public scrutiny and pushback if it's not deemed to be okay. It's the most, and I've been there, it's the most uncomfortable thing you'll ever experience in your life. One of the most uncomfortable, I think. Because you're going to sit down with the prime minister and saying, you know what, this don't look right. And he's the prime minister. He's the big entree in the country, and he's going to push back. That pushback is uncomfortable. The only good thing about this is that the people on the committee who have your back as the auditor are some of the most senior people in the Jamaica legal and accounting community, and they have bios which are not reproachable. So when you read their bios, you look at their experience, you look at their background, you walk away saying, okay, qualified people. I'm comfortable with these qualified people. Now let's see what the outcome is. Well, you can have 28 accounts if 4 from way back when. The problem you have is, I'm not sure it's 28 accounts, by the way. It could be more. Because the requirement for the statutory audit is, it's you, it's your spouse, and it's your children. It doesn't have cousins. It doesn't have uncles. You can't go to friends. You could move money in so many different ways, which is not detectable. The reason why is my 100th last point. The reason why when you look at FIFA and FIFA's corruption, or this person want to tell me about FIFA and how FIFA auditors are great. Where were they when FIFA had all this corruption? Hey, football guru, where were all these great auditors at CONCACAF and FIFA when they have all the corruption, we tell them go to jail? Where were they? Where were they, football guru? These brilliant auditors you talk about. But anyway, don't want to cast aspersion on auditors because I worked in that field for a long time before I left. The problem you have is that you have 28 accounts, say 24 are real accounts, but it's all those other companies you have and your ability to influence what go in and out of those companies. And it's only capturing, because the statutory, and by the way, people, is thorough in terms of the criteria used for statutory declaration and the examples they use. They use Hong Kong quite a bit and what it's trying to achieve. It's basically trying to have countries have controls and mitigants in place to prevent people from defalcating or stealing public resources. That's all it's meant to do. They call it illicit enrichment. Sounds fancy. But just make sure you're not, in plain word, you're not thief the public funds. That's all it's trying to do. And I just take it personal, which I shouldn't, when I see auditors trying to do a good job and they're getting beat up. And then we have people in the public domain because they're so political in their nature on both sides of the fence, either the PMP saying, oh, you should resign immediately, but you don't have enough evidence for that. And on the JP side saying they're trying to railroad the prime minister and then bad mind. Like, really, people? Well, in Jamaica they do. Not in the real world they don't, but in Jamaica they do. You can lose something, the most precious thing if you're in Jamaica and some of these things. But in most parts of the world, auditors they just do their jobs and provide the outcome. And the one thing they have is factual evidence support the outcome they have. I tell you, people, I have been in some situation where you're just sitting in the room thinking, I would prefer to be any place else but here. Like any place else but here. Because the conversation is uncomfortable. So imagine being those 5 committee members or the person conducting the audit, and you're dealing with the prime minister, the highest person in the land in terms of position, and you being told that you're being political and you're bad mind Like, how is that okay? But anyway, I'm giving away I'm going to talk about because I'm going to do my research, come back with some facts from what I gather, or I would say facts, what's in the report, because it can't be facts unless I substantiate it. And we're going to talk about this, people. I'm going to do it on this Kranky Live channel and probably connect it to my other channel, which I've been, which is actually is what do you call it? The like a defunct account or a account is not active. It's an inactive account. That's what it is now. But anyway, people, the show went left for reason 1-1. I put the show left because 1-1. I'm stopped being one-dimensional. Eventually, I'm probably going to stop talking sports because you guys are not supporting me enough. I'm not saying you 1-1. People who are here regularly are, but I'm not getting enough support, so it's frustrating. That's why I took off last week, try to get my bearings. But no, the show didn't go left 1-1. It started this way 1-1. We're ending this way. We don't want to take with Damion Lowe because we don't want to hear from Football Guru whining and complaining about us beating Lowe when we weren't here to beat Lowe. We showed numbers. If the numbers are beating people, sorry. The last time I showed numbers, Lowe was 27 of 28 against Honduras. Football Guru had no complaints. But anyway, people, it's past my food consumption time. Oh yeah, when I started with that one. I started with that and the female team and something else when I'm ending with it. So I'm going to do a show when on the statutory declaration for the Prime Minister, but it needs a lot of research before I come back and talk about it. But I want to lack objectivity in protecting my auditors, my audit brethren and affiliates, because I know what they go through. I know what they do. I understand what they do. And 99.9% of the time, they're just trying to do a good job. They're just trying to do a good job. And in this case, it's even more so because they're not depending on the client to pay them. A lot of auditors have this conflict, especially financial auditors, where the client they're reviewing are paying their fees. This is different. There is no reason why it should be any other way. Brian, I'm telling you, I struggle, Brian. I struggle to try to do 2 channels. I thought I could, but I struggle, Brian. Yeah, I've been neglecting it. I have to go back to it. I may give this channel up for that channel, Brian, because there's more material. And it's less toxic. It's toxic, but it's toxic where I can deal with that toxicity because they talk about Trump. People support Trump. And I love to have that dialogue. I love that toxic nature over there. I don't like toxic thing in sports. But anyway, people, let me just say this. First of all, before you go, hit the like button. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here. I had to make this point, so I get myself in trouble before I leave. Here's my last point. For the 100, but definitely my last point. I came on this channel to talk about something one time about somebody got released from jail, and people were saying, "Kranky, don't go there. Are you crazy?" Blah, whatever. I'm gonna say this: when I'm in the U.S., I can talk about John Gotti way back when. Talk about anybody. Nobody's created a sense of fear about this. People, that cannot be okay. You guys accept certain things as norm. That can't be okay, people. You can't tell somebody can't talk about something when it's in the public discourse and public domain because we are afraid that something's going to happen. How is that okay, people? Let's please tell me that okay. How can that be okay with anybody, anywhere, anytime? And Football Guru just say he loves Jamaica and he can't explain what he loves. He can't. He loved the people because they're wonderful and he was born there. Football Guru's intelligence just went into the toilet. Based on that answer. So here's the point I'm going to make. If I do something and I get on a technicality and everybody say I wasn't guilty, Leicester is the last analogy. It's a football analogy. Leicester, the football team, got off from being deducted points on a technicality. You know what they did, people? Which is something that was anticipated by the Premier League. They were in violation of FFP rules. I think their year end was like May. They would have been a Premier League team. They got relegated. They changed their year end to June. But between May and June, they were no longer, or after the last day, they were no longer a Premier League team. So they made the case to the arbiter that, you know what, we can't be charged a Premier League team because we're never a Premier League team. So you're going to say we're going to get deducted points. The rule only applied to Premier League teams. It's a technicality. The substance was they violated the rule while they were a Premier League team. Now, the Premier League got beaten by a lot of people, including Simon Jordan, who I've talked about in this program, because they're saying they should have known this. But you know what? When you formulate a rule, you put a rule in place, You can't anticipate every single nuance and situation that may occur. You do your best effort. It happens. Should some things in rules be known? That's why you have to circulate those things to a number of people to get as much input as possible, because everyone doesn't know everything about everything. Right? Everyone doesn't know everything about everything. And they missed that. And they had egg on their face. The point I'm trying to make is people get off on technicalities sometimes. Because you can't identify or determine every single time a technicality. Doesn't mean you are not guilty or you weren't guilty. Good night, everybody. Have a good evening.